My CEO husband, who suffers from oligospermia, has been secretly keeping a young mistress on the side. The girl is quite the drama queen, constantly threatening to leave him and break up, unable to bear seeing his mistress upset. My husband came to discuss it with me. 3 months pregnant with his child, Tian refuses to be the other woman. To keep her happy, I must divorce you and marry her instead. Don't worry. It's just for appearances. You and the child will want for nothing. In my past life, consumed by resentment, I used our child as leverage to force Yijue to cut ties with Mu Tian, a desperate act that set me on a path of no return. This time around, I'm wiser. With a calm smile, I signed the divorce papers. May you and Miss Mu grow old together. Surrounded by generations of descendants, Yijue mistook my detachment for some calculated game of hard to get, never realizing I had genuinely let him go. I'd already terminated the pregnancy with his child before he even handed me the divorce papers. Later, Yijue came knocking at my door, loaded with gifts and beaming with excitement. His jaw dropped when he saw my flat stomach and the muscular hunk with a six-pack standing behind me. Everyone in Nanjing knew that Mrs. Yi Suqingxi was utterly devoted to Yijue, practically worshipping the ground he walked on. Ever since I was young, I've been chasing after Yijue. Watching him charm his way through crowds of beautiful women while I waited in vain for him to just glance my way. Perhaps fate took pity on me, because I finally got my chance when I threw myself in front of a blade for Yijue. That selfless act finally made him see my worth. We got married, and Yijue treated me wonderfully. When he slipped the wedding ring on my finger, he vowed before everyone that he would never betray me. I took Yijue at his word and devoted myself wholeheartedly to being the perfect supportive wife. Deep down I know how fickle the heart can be, and how little a man's promises are worth, but because I loved Yijue, I chose to believe the vows he made to me. It wasn't until Mu Tian showed up uninvited that I realized I was the only one who ever believed our 5-year marriage was built on love. At first, he kept his affair with Mu Tian completely under wraps. They kept hiding Mu Tian's affairs from me, making sure no one brought them to my attention. But Mu Tian couldn't stand being ignored and thrust herself into my life. At my 3-month pregnancy celebration party, Mu Tian took it upon herself to rip off the veil of secrecy. After obtaining an invitation to my birthday, she showed up dressed to the nines, approached me under the pretense of toasting, and splashed a glass of red wine on me. Before I could even process what was happening, I was already on the ground, sobbing and begging for mercy like a storm-battered pear blossom. Mrs. Yi, this is all my fault. I never should have come between you and Mr. Yi. You have every right to hit me, but I truly love him. Love is something you can't control. The mistress showing up to confront the wife in front of all those guests caused such a scene, humiliated beyond words. I went into premature labor right then and was rushed to the hospital, lying on the cold hospital operating table. Watching the doctors scramble to save my pregnancy, I drifted in and out of consciousness as memories came flooding back. That was my past life. Mu Tian deliberately sought me out at the party to lay all this bare. She knew Yijue was a married man when she got involved with him. She was drawn to his striking looks, his intense devotion, and his deep pockets, so she tried every trick in the book to get Yijue's attention, and eventually succeeded in becoming his mistress. Mu Tian is quite the manipulator. She plays both sides while maintaining a facade of innocence. She wants to have her cake and eat it too, playing the other woman while painting herself as a pure, naive young girl. Surprisingly, Yijue fell for her act hook, line, and sinker. Ever since getting together with Mu Tian, he's been completely under her thumb. In our previous life, the scene orchestrated by Mu Tian quickly went viral and became a trending topic. The Yi family tried every means to suppress and Yijue stayed by my side briefly because I was carrying his child, but he was soon drawn away by Mu Tian's suicide attempt. Fearing he might lose his beloved Mu Tian, he chose to make his pregnant wife step aside. While I was lying in the hospital bed trying to prevent a miscarriage, drowning in my own tears, Yijue was busy comforting and caring for Mu Tian, who was faking a suicide attempt, of course. Mu Tian wasn't idle either. She kept sending me provocative messages from a fake account and later outright challenged me. She claimed she was the one Yijue truly loved, and that if he had to choose between her and me, he would always pick her. She even wanted to make a bet with me, wagering on who Yijue would ultimately choose. After making the bet, Mu Tian fled from the hospital. This wasn't actually Mu Tian's first time leaving. She had performed this escape act 4 times in front of Yijue, The first time, she pretended to discover Yijue was married, then tearfully left declaring she wouldn't be the other woman she claimed to be leaving, but deliberately left her address behind. In the end, Yijue went after her and sweet-talked her into coming back. Mu Tiantian kept insisting she didn't want to come between a married couple or be the other woman. Yet she had no qualms about enjoying all the material comforts Yijue provided. She lived in a sprawling penthouse, drove luxury sports cars worth millions, and everything from her clothes to her handbags were limited edition pieces. Every time Mu Tiantian staged her breakup and runaway drama, it would wrench Yijue's heart. Yijue would launch an all-out search for Mu Tiantian, then shower her with extravagant gifts to win back her favor. Mu Tiantian knew exactly how deeply Yijue felt for her, and she reveled in it. Once certain he was utterly captivated, she set her sights beyond mere wealth. She wanted to become his legitimate wife. Mu Tiantian left Yijue an emotionally charged letter, declaring she would never be the other woman who destroys a family, and bidding him a final farewell. For Yijue, what he felt for her was genuine love. After Mu Tiantian faked being humiliated by me, attempted suicide, and fled, he finally made up his mind. He realized his true love was Mu Tiantian and couldn't bear to see her suffer. Yijue, frantic with worry, immediately gathered his men to chase after Mu Tiantian, forcing me to sign the divorce papers before leaving to clear the way for their relationship. In my past life, I refused to accept this fate. Knowing full well what kind of person Mu Tiantian was, I stubbornly held my ground and wouldn't step aside. I threatened to terminate the pregnancy, forcing Yijue to halt his pursuit of Mu Tiantian. Yijue and I have been married for 5 years, but his oligospermia has prevented me from getting pregnant. When Yijue briefly returned to our family because of the child, I truly believed he had turned over a new leaf. Little did I know it was all just a facade. Unbeknownst to me, he had already secretly brought Mu Tiantian back. He knew his body wasn't suited for pregnancy, so he kept it from me all along. On the day I went into labor, they deliberately caused a medical accident. I died from massive hemorrhage, and less than a month after my death, Yijue flaunted his marriage to Mu Tiantian while raising my child as his own. They lived a blissful life with my child, basking in marital harmony, while I became the tragic sacrifice that seasoned their love story. Lying on that hospital gurney, replaying the pathetic mess of my past life, I just wanted to slap myself silly. How utterly stupid was I to throw my life away over a cheating scumbag? But since fate's giving me a second chance, I swear I won't make the same mistakes again. I'm done with Yijue, and I won't be keeping the child either. I'm divorcing Yijue to find my own happiness. The nurses wheeled me out of the emergency room, but Yijue was nowhere to be seen. Mu Tiantian pulled another fake suicide attempt. Just like in our previous life, they say the blood from her wrist cutting filled the entire bathtub. I found it utterly ridiculous when I heard it. How could anyone possibly have that much blood? To convince Yijue, Mu Tiantian bought a massive amount of fresh pig's blood, enough to fill an entire bathtub. She then made a small cut on her hand, lay down in the tub to soak in the pig's blood, and had the housekeeper call Yijue for help. Love made Yijue lose his mind. Upon hearing about Mu Tiantian's suicide attempt, he rushed straight to her luxury apartment, then carried her out, drenched in pig's blood, and rushed her to the hospital. The scene was caught on camera and sparked another wave of online frenzy. Mu Tiantian's staged suicide act moved Yijue to his very core. Worried sick about Mu Tiantian's safety and terrified of losing her, he kept constant vigil at her side for days, never even bothering to change his clothes. News about him and Mu Tiantian trends on social media every single day. On the third evening after Mu Tiantian's suicide, I received an anonymously sent photo of 2 people holding hands. The man's finger was wearing a diamond ring engraved with my name. I'm the one he truly loves. The one who isn't loved is the other woman. Su Qingxi, you can't win against me. Having lived through this life before, I knew perfectly well I could never compete with her, so I never intended to challenge Mu Tiantian. After realizing how absurd everything I'd been through was, I'd already made up my mind to walk away. I handed Yijue over to Mu Tiantian, hoping she would love him forever, until death do us part, for all eternity. After making up my mind, I secretly paid the doctor who was supposed to help me keep the pregnancy to perform an abortion for me. After the procedure, I stayed in the hospital for another week. Yijue didn't show up once during that entire week. I was actually glad for the peace and quiet. After a week of rest, I was discharged and returned to the home I shared with Yijue. No time for sorrow, I just want to start my life anew. I'd been steadily sorting through my assets without pause. After 5 years of marriage to Yi Shue, there wasn't much property to divide. He married me back then out of gratitude for saving his life. The Yi family may be powerful and influential, but I have no share in any of it. I was such a fool back then, thinking his acceptance meant forever. It never crossed my mind he'd abandon me for another woman. I have to admit, Yi Shue's affections come and go as quickly as the tide. I'm worried that if I divorce Yi Shue, I won't get a share of his company's assets. To secure a comfortable future, I'd decided to start by selling the luxury jewelry Yi Shue gave me when he was still in love. Our home safe is overflowing with jewelry, each piece a testament to Yi Shue's love over these past 5 years. Looking at these items now, my past romance with Yi Shue feels like a distant dream, now that I'm awake from that dream. I've lost the man I loved, but at least money can soothe my broken heart. I gathered all the jewelry from the safe and sent it off to be sold. I also listed several properties under my name for sale. These things were a drop in the bucket for Yi Shue, but for me, they were a fortune. With this money, even if I don't get much from the divorce with Yi Shue, I won't have to worry about my future. The next day at noon, after I had sold off all the jewelry and real estate, Yi Shue finally showed up. His hair disheveled and his clothes covered in wrinkles. When he walked in, I was sipping chicken soup. He sat down across from me, fully expecting me to say something, but I just kept my head down and continued drinking the soup without any reaction. Finally, he couldn't hold back anymore and spoke first. "Chinxi, I'm truly sorry for what happened this time. You can hit me or curse at me. I deserve it." I just glanced up at him before continuing to sip my soup. A flicker of surprise crossed Yi Shue's face when he saw how composed I was. Convinced that I was hopelessly in love with him, he pulled out a document without hesitation and handed it to me. Tian Tian refuses to be the other woman. She can't live without me, so I can't abandon her. This is the divorce agreement. Sign it first. You want a divorce? I asked calmly as I took the papers. Yes, I had no choice. Tian Tian threatened to take her own life, and I couldn't just stand by and watch a living person die. That's why I must divorce you and marry her. Perhaps realizing how cruel his words sounded, Yi Shue softened his tone. "Chinxi, don't worry, even after we divorce, I won't let you suffer in the slightest. I'll give you half of my assets to ensure you and our child are provided for." I was overjoyed that Yi Shue would so generously offer me half his wealth. I took the divorce agreement and read it carefully. The terms were crystal clear. Yi Shue was indeed willing to compensate me with half his assets for the sake of love. With that much money at stake, why would I refuse to sign and Yi Shue's wishes? I accepted the pen Yi Shue handed me and signed my name in neat, proper strokes. Seeing me sign without tears, drama, pleas, or attempts to change his mind, Yi Shue's expression actually turned somewhat unpleasant. He stared at me for a moment, and after confirming I had no intention of crying or begging, his face darkened as he issued a sharp warning. "Chinxi, I know how you feel about me. I want you to accept the situation and divorce me without resorting to any other tactics. Let me be perfectly clear. If you dare lay a finger on Tian Tian, I will make you pay." I looked up at him calmly. Yi Shue truly understood me. In her past life, Su Qingxi had loved Yi Shue to death. After suffering such a devastating betrayal, it was entirely possible she would have done something to hurt Mu Tian Tian, but in this life, Su Qingxi wouldn't stoop to such pettiness. I made a solemn vow to Yi Shue. "You have my absolute word. What you fear will never come to pass." Naturally, Yi Shue didn't trust my words. He warned me once more. "Remember your promise to me. If you dare harm Tian Tian, I'll make you pay. Even if you're with child, I always keep my word." A sardonic smile touched my lips. Yi Shue actually thought I'd use our child as leverage against him. Little did he know the child we shared was long gone. I had no intention of revealing the truth now, so I brushed him off with a terse, "Understood. You should go find your precious Miss Mu." Yi Shue seemed almost unsettled by the absence of my tearful pleas or attempts to use the pregnancy as a bargaining chip. He was all set to rush to his beloved Mu Xianchen. But my unnerving calmness gave him pause. At the crucial moment, Yi Shue actually hesitated. He was fully aware of his oligospermia condition and the extremely slim chance of fathering a child. He knew the Yi conglomerate was surrounded by predators waiting to pounce at the slightest misstep. For the child I carry, for wealth and corporate power, Yi Shue halted his steps toward Mu Xianchen when it mattered most. He instructed his assistant to take the bodyguards and search for Mu Xianchen, while he stayed home with me. Although Yi Shue didn't go looking for Mu Xianchen himself, he had his assistant relay a message to her. If she would just come back, he would definitely hold a wedding ceremony with Mu Xianchen. Mu Xianchen fully expected Yizhua to chase after her like he had done the previous times. Mu Tiantian was deeply disappointed that Yizhua didn't come looking for her in person, knowing I was pregnant. She carefully considered her options and realized she had no chance of winning this fight. In the end, Mu Tiantian obediently returned with Yizhua's assistant. When Yizhua heard that his assistant had brought Mu Tiantian back, he was overjoyed and rushed to see her immediately. That very night, I received photos and videos sent from Mu Tiantian's alternate account. It was an awe-inspiring fireworks display that left everyone envious. Yizhua spent millions to set off this spectacle of love. He used thousands of drones to profess his love to Mu Tiantian in the sky, and even gifted her an exquisitely valuable pink diamond. Honestly, I couldn't care less about whatever's going on between Yizhua and Mu Tiantian, but Mu Tiantian seems to see me as some kind of obstacle. She even used a burner account to livestream their romantic moments right to me. Mu Xianchen told me arrogantly, Yizhua will be staying with her from now on, he won't come back to see this old hag anymore. She was clearly trying to get a rise out of me, but I couldn't be bothered to play these petty jealousy games. I opted for the full blocking service instead. A large sum from the jewelry and house sale came through quickly. I moved out of the marital home I shared with Yizhua, ready to embark on a journey with my newfound fortune to unwind. Before this, my entire world had revolved around Yizhua. I had no sense of self, no life of my own. Now I want to live life on my own terms. But Yizhua and Mu Tiantian just couldn't stand to see me happy. On the third day of my journey, Yizhua called me. He demanded furiously, Su Qingxi, how dare you sell our marital home, and you pawned all the jewelry I gave you, have you lost your mind? I suppressed my disgust while listening to Yizhua's rant. If it weren't for the mandatory 30-day cooling-off period before the divorce takes effect, I would have blocked him long ago. Now is not the right time, after all. I still haven't received that substantial divorce settlement. Holding back my revulsion, I said, wasn't that house given to me? Since that's the case, isn't selling it my rightful decision? And those jewelry pieces are completely outdated, what's wrong with selling them to buy new ones? Hearing my calm tone, Yizhua's voice cracked with anger. We chose our marital home together. Every detail of the interior design had your approval. You called it our love nest. And those jewelry pieces were carefully selected gifts from me. You promised to cherish them forever as family heirlooms. He actually knows all about it. I thought he'd long forgotten everything from before. I calmly retorted, you're about to divorce me and marry someone else. Why would I keep those things? Just to add to my misery. My response made Yizhua think I was being jealous and petty, so he softened his tone. Haven't I told you? The divorce is only to keep Tian from killing herself. She's been with me since she was so young. Shouldn't I fulfill her wish? Tian is young and doesn't know any better. But you're a grown woman, shouldn't you understand? By the way, how is the baby? Have you been going for your regular prenatal checkups? This is so damn disgusting. If it weren't for the inheritance, I wouldn't bother humoring him at all. I forced myself to give a few half-hearted responses for the money. Yizhua said a few more concerned words to me before finally hanging up. That phone call made me so sick I almost threw up the delicious food I'd just eaten. I had just barely managed to calm my anger when Mu Tiantian showed up at my door again. After I repeatedly rejected her attempts to add me with alternate accounts, Mu Xianchen finally lost her patience. She started sending videos and photos directly to my social media inbox. You old hag. You're divorced. Why are you still messing around with Yizhua? You've got some nerve thinking a baby will make Yizhua take you back. Dream on. I'm younger and more fertile than you. Once you're gone, I'll give him enough kids to form a soccer team. She's all talk without thinking twice. Mu Tiantian probably has no idea about Yizhua's oligospermia condition. If she can bear Yizhua a whole soccer team of children, I'll cut off my head and let her use it as a ball. I ignored Mu Tiantian's nonsense and continued on my journey. I thought divorcing Yizhua was a done deal, just a matter of time before we signed the papers at the Civil Affairs Bureau and went our separate ways. But to my surprise, Yizhua had a change of heart at the last moment. I timed my return for the day before we were scheduled to get our marriage certificate. As soon as I got back, I called Yizhua to remind him about our appointment at the Civil Affairs Bureau to finalize the divorce. I expected him to agree without hesitation, but he actually went back on his word. He tracked down where I lived and said, Qingxi, let's put the divorce on hold for now. Yizhua's change of heart hit me like a bolt from the blue. I demanded angrily, why should we put it on hold? Yizhua stared at me with displeasure. searching my face for any trace of attachment or love, but he found nothing. My expression held only impatience and disgust. Yishua's heart sank. He found it incredibly hard to adjust to my absence. Without my daily check-ins, messages, and phone calls, Yishua felt particularly unsettled. He kept convincing himself that I was just angry, and that once I cooled off, I'd come back to him, but that wasn't the case at all. As Yishua stared at our chat window, he realized our last conversation was from the day of the party. From that day on, I never reached out to him or showed him any concern. An inexplicable sense of crisis rose in Yishua's heart as a question he'd never considered suddenly occurred to him. He was certain I was madly in love with him. That's why he forced me, pregnant with his child, to divorce him. What would happen if reality didn't match his assumptions? If I no longer loved him, after he gives me half of his fortune, I might remarry and spend the rest of my life happily with someone else. This thought was unacceptable to Yishua. He stared at me and said, word by word, "You're pregnant. I don't want my child to be born out of wedlock." His words made me instinctively touch my flat stomach. Yishua's gaze fell on my belly. It took us so long to have this child, the fruit of our love. I was out of my mind before. How could I abandon you and our child for another woman? I've decided, we're not getting divorced. How am I supposed to get my share of the fortune without a divorce? It's not just about the money. The thought of sharing a roof with that cheating scumbag makes me sick. Don't you think this is wrong? What about Mutian? She's just a naive young girl. What if things get out of hand between you two? I threw Yishua's own comforting words back at him, but he just looked completely unfazed. She's just a naive young girl who's easy to placate. All she wants is a wedding ceremony. I'll throw her a lavish one to keep her happy when the time comes. We can continue our marriage without getting divorced, trying to have your cake and eat it too. I wanted to slap Yishua across the face and demand to know what gave him the right. Yishua frowned at my silence. Why are you upset, Chinksy? You seem different lately. You used to hang on my every word and couldn't stand to be apart from me. Now you're actually trying to push me away. My aversion to him came from the depths of my heart, and my resistance made Yishua suspicious. His gaze fell on my belly. Come to think of it, I haven't accompanied you to any prenatal checkups lately. Let me go with you now to see how our little one is doing. Right after saying that, Yishua called his assistant and instructed him to schedule an appointment with the obstetrician. He then personally drove me straight to the hospital for the checkup, leaving no room for refusal. My heart was racing the whole way there. I couldn't wait to get to the prenatal checkup hospital. The truth would soon come out, and that's when Yishua and I would have our final showdown. I couldn't just stand by and watch a fortune slip through my fingers. I had to come up with a plan. In my panic, Mutian quickly came to mind. I snapped a photo of Yishua driving and immediately sent the picture along with a message to the anonymous account Mutian used to provoke me. A mistress will always be a dirty little secret. You probably don't know this, but my husband is personally driving me to the hospital for my prenatal checkup right now. He's promised not to divorce me. He's just keeping you on the side. You'll never be anything more than a shameful mistress. Not even 2 minutes after sending the message, Yishua's phone rang. It was the nanny who takes care of Mutian, saying she had fallen ill and suddenly lost consciousness. I heard that his precious darling had fallen ill, and Yishua was so distressed that he immediately abandoned me at the hospital entrance and rushed off to find Mutian. While feeling relieved, I immediately went to consult with the doctor who handled my prenatal checkups and was also scheduled to perform my abortion. I begged her to help me keep it a secret from Yishua that I had terminated the pregnancy. After taking care of everything, I returned home feeling at ease, only to see that Mutian had sent me a message. What are you so smug about? You're just a breeding tool. Compared to you, I'm still the one he truly loves. I stared at Mutian's message for a few seconds, then sent her a reply. Some people wish they could be a breeding tool but can't even manage that. Why don't you try getting pregnant and show me? You'll never conceive in this lifetime. You'll never become Mrs. Yi, forever just a mistress who can't show her face in public. Followed by a laughing emoji. I know Mutian must be furious after reading my message. She'll definitely investigate why she never got pregnant despite having unprotected sex with Yishua so many times. I'm certain Mutian will take action once she discovers the truth. After all, she's always been the type of woman who'll stop at nothing to get what she wants. As expected, Mutian quieted down for a while after seeing the message I sent. She stopped sending me provocative messages, and the private investigator I hired at a high price reported her recent activities to me. she kept finding excuses to cling to Yishua, refusing to let him leave. While pestering Yishua, she also secretly visited infertility clinics at major hospitals. The fish has taken the bait. I waited with bated breath for Mu Tian Tian to make her move. After an agonizing month of anticipation, she finally sent me a pregnancy test result from a secondary account. On the very night I received Mu Tiantian's pregnancy test result, Yishua showed up at my temporary residence again. He was holding a huge bouquet of roses and had brought along some expensive jewelry. I accepted the expensive jewelry without any reservations. After all, these pieces could fetch a fortune if sold. I'm not one to put on airs. Why turn down good money? After Yishua, with rare patience, joined me for dinner, he finally got down to business. Chinxi. Let's go through with the divorce procedures tomorrow. I was secretly delighted, but still pretended to be heartbroken as I confronted Yishua. Why? Didn't you say we wouldn't get divorced? Why are you going back on your word? I have no other choice. Chinxi, you love me so much, surely you can understand my difficult position. Yishua lowered himself to coax me, but I kept crying and making a scene until he finally lost patience. He snapped at me with an overbearing tone. You will divorce me whether you want to or not. I'm not here to discuss this with you. I've made up my mind and I'm just letting you know. If you refuse to sign the papers willingly, then wait to hear from my lawyer. Yishua looked down on me coldly, as if he had become a completely different person. Divorce me quietly, and the previous terms still stand. Otherwise, I'll make sure you leave with nothing, not a single penny to your name. He was unbelievably cruel to me. With a broken heart, I wiped away my tears and begged Yishua not to treat me this way, promising to be obedient if only he would give me a chance to love him. Seeing how genuinely distraught I was, Yishua agreed that if I complied with the divorce, he would take care of me and our child in the future. After leaving those hollow words, Yishua was summoned away by a call from Mu Tian Tian. Soon after, Mu Tian Tian sent me a message. You old hag, now you see what I'm capable of. From now on, you'd better keep your head down, or I'll make you regret it. I wasn't angry at all. I was clutching my stomach on the couch, laughing so hard I could barely breathe. How wonderful. Finally, I can get rid of that despicable pair. The next morning, I arrived punctually at the Civil Affairs Bureau, signed the papers with Yishua, and received our divorce certificate. Worried that Yishua might go back on his word, I deliberately made myself look pitiful when I went to see him. I had rubbed my eyes with onion water, and they were swollen like peaches. I also intentionally applied a yellowish foundation to my face, making myself look as miserable as possible. Yishua didn't come alone. Mu Tian Tian was stuck to him like a plaster. Mu Tian Tian came specifically to provoke me, and her words were full of barbs. I bowed my head pretending to wipe tears, terrified she'd see the laughter in my swollen, red eyes. As we signed the papers, Yishua actually tried to comfort me. Afraid I might make a scene. Chinxi, this divorce is just temporary. Once you give me a son, we'll remarry. Don't worry, I won't abandon you and the child. Fighting back disgust, I sobbed with my head down. Only when I held the divorce certificate with its official seal did I finally breathe a sigh of relief. Just leave everything to the lawyer from now on. I felt completely liberated. With the divorce certificate in hand, I quickly jogged away from the Civil Affairs Bureau. Yishua was startled by my actions and instinctively chased after me, exclaiming repeatedly, "Slow down, Su Chinxi, are you out of your mind? What if you get hurt and something happens to the baby?" I bolted into the car, started the engine, and left Yishua in a cloud of exhaust fumes. Yishua glared furiously in the direction I'd left, his mouth moving wordlessly as if muttering curses. Just then, Mu Tian Tian rushed out and grabbed Yishua's hand, exclaiming, "Darling, my stomach hurts." Worried something might be wrong with their unborn child, Yishua immediately took Mu Tian Tian to the hospital. Just as they were about to reach the hospital, it suddenly occurred to him. It seemed like he hadn't paid any attention to my prenatal checkups for quite some time. He had no idea how our unborn baby was doing. He decided he must personally accompany me to the next prenatal appointment in a few days to check on the baby's condition. With these thoughts running through his mind, Yishua took a moment to send me a message. "Chinxi, let me take you for your prenatal checkup when you have a moment." When I didn't respond, Yishua tried calling me, only to find the line completely blocked. It finally dawned on him that I had blocked his number. Realizing he'd been blocked, Yishua was furious. How dare I cut him off like that? Though annoyed by my blocking him, Yishua was soon preoccupied with Mu Tiantian's antics. Mu Tian had endless tricks up her sleeve to demand attention, leaving Yizhua no time to ponder the changes in me. Of course, Yizhua was convinced he understood me, how deeply I loved him, having once risked my life for him and wept so bitterly when we first divorced. I just couldn't immediately come to terms with transitioning from his wife to a mere acquaintance. Yizhua probably thinks that with my love for him, I'd do anything to win him back, even protect our child at all costs. After all, this child is the only connection between us after the divorce. Just 1 week after Yizhua and I finalized our divorce, his company made a grand announcement about his engagement to Mu Tian. Their wedding is set for a month from now. When I saw the news, I was already lounging on a beach in the Maldives, soaking up the sun. I left the country the very day I got my divorce papers. To avoid unnecessary drama, I blocked all of Yizhua's contacts and changed my phone number, aside from my lawyer. I haven't been in touch with anyone. When I saw the marriage announcement of Yizhua and Mu Tian, it didn't affect me in the slightest. I got up from the lounge chair, stretched, and went for a swim. I was reveling in the ocean, savoring that sense of total freedom, when the unexpected happened. A man-eating shark suddenly charged from the deep sea into the safe zone. The sudden crisis sent everyone in the water scrambling for their lives, and I was no exception. Then came another mishap. As I was desperately swimming back, my leg cramped up, paralyzed and unable to swim back. The shark closed in on me in seconds. I saw the shark's gaping jaws and razor-sharp teeth clearly, and fear made me shut my eyes. I felt the hot, breathy maw engulf me, the sharp sting of teeth piercing my skin. As I blacked out, I heard a rapid series of pops like firecrackers going off near my ears. Then I completely blacked out. I came to 3 days later. Jolted awake by the shrill ringing of my phone. Out of habit, I grabbed the phone and answered. "Hello." My lawyer's voice was urgent on the other end. "Ms. Sue, something terrible has happened." "What's the big deal?" I asked groggily. "Yizhua is backing out. He's refusing to honor the divorce agreement and won't give you half the assets." "What?" I bolted upright, hissing in pain as the sudden movement tugged at my wounds. The lawyer continued. "He wants you to return home immediately to meet with him. You have 1 week to decide. What if I refuse to return to the country? If you don't return, he'll report you as a missing person to invalidate the divorce agreement." How dare he? I was absolutely furious. The lawyer sighed. "The apartment you've been living in caught fire yesterday. Police found a charred body inside, and since you have no known relatives, they preliminarily identified the remains as yours." My hands trembled as I clutched the phone in disbelief. "The apartment's on fire. How is that even possible? I live in a high-end building. There's no way a fire could start accidentally. Someone must be behind this. Who could it be? Is it Yizhua again? Last lifetime Yizhua teamed up with Mu Tian to destroy me, and now in this life he still won't let me go. How can his heart be so vicious?" The lawyer sympathized with my plight. "Only by coming forward can you prove you're still alive and contest Yizhua for the property." "But I'm concerned." I knew what the lawyer left unsaid. He also suspected Yizhua was behind the apartment fire, and feared I'd be killed by his men the moment I showed my face. With no witness left to contradict him, Yizhua could reclaim all the assets. Trembling with rage, I realized I needed a foolproof plan to counter this, but having no one to back me up now, I couldn't afford to walk into danger. Just then, the hospital room door swung open, my head snapped up, and when I saw the man's handsome face, I gasped. "What are you doing here?" I never expected to see Gu Chuan. Gu Chuan and I go way back. We grew up together in the orphanage, studied side by side, and even got into the same top-tier high school. Gu Chuan has always been very caring towards me, and I could feel his affection for me, but love doesn't follow any order of arrival. Later, I fell head over heels for Yizhua at first sight and became hopelessly devoted to him. I was so infatuated that I'd do anything for him, even risk my life, as if I were under some kind of spell that made me certain he was the one. After I nearly died taking a knife for Yizhua, he finally saw my worth and accepted me, and from that moment on, Gu Chuan disappeared. Yizhua and I have been married for 5 years, and Gu Chuan has been gone for just as long. Seeing Gu Chuan again filled me with delight. "What brings you here?" Gu Chuan set the food he was carrying on the bedside table next to me. "Have something to eat first, then I'll tell you why I'm here." After lying in bed for days, I was genuinely starving. Gu Chuan brought me a bowl of porridge that had been simmered to a soft, mushy consistency. He said my body wasn't up for greasy or hard-to-digest foods, and suggested I start with some porridge. Once I've recovered, he promised to take me out for a proper meal. I obediently started eating the porridge, but couldn't help asking Gu Chuan where he had been for the past 5 years. Gu Chuan sighed and said, "I've always been right here by your side, it's just that you only had eyes for Yi Zhuo and never noticed anyone else." I fell silent at the mention of Yi Zhuo. The person I'd once pursued with single-minded devotion had become the blade that wounded me. The humiliation burned. I couldn't bear Gu Chuan witnessing my brokenness. What stunned me was how thoroughly Gu Chuan understood every detail of my situation. After I finished the congee he brought, he revealed the truth to me. "Qingxi, do you realize you were almost killed by them? Who are they?" "Mu Tian and the people behind her." Gu Chuan told me that Mu Tian was trained by a shady organization specifically as bait to ensnare wealthy targets. That's why she was able to navigate so effortlessly by Yi Zhuo's side. That's what made Yi Zhuo completely captivated by her. According to Mu Tian and the organization behind her, their goal was to make me leave Yi Zhuo with nothing, then have Mu Tian take my place as Mrs. Yi, and eventually find a way to seize his assets. They never expected that Yi Zhuo would generously give me half of his property because I was pregnant, fearing that my child would threaten their claim to Yi Zhuo's assets. The people behind Mu Tian put a hit out on me. By sheer luck, I escaped unscathed. Right after divorcing Yi Zhuo, I ditched my SIM card and flew abroad without a moment's delay. When they couldn't track me down, they set my apartment on fire. They staged it to look like I'd died in an accident. They knew the person in the apartment wasn't me. Their real target has always been to eliminate me. Gu Chuan said the shark incident was also orchestrated by them. The powerful figures backing Mu Tian tracked me down and set up that deadly ambush at the beach. Fortunately, Gu Chuan arrived just in time with his team to rescue me. Gu Chuan asked me, "Qingxi, what's your next move?" The hatred spanning 2 lifetimes made me clench my fists in fury. I had hoped to live in peace, but they simply wouldn't leave me alone. Since running away is pointless, the only option left is to confront them head-on. I looked Gu Chuan in the eye and declared, word by deliberate word, I will fight them to the bitter end. As long as I draw breath, I will claim half of Yi Zhuo's estate, and I will use every last coin of it to strike back. I know I don't have what it takes to go up against these ruthless people. I need help, and Gu Chuan, who's been missing for 5 years, suddenly steps in to assist me. It goes without saying that he has some influence. I took the initiative to plead, "Gu Chuan, can you help me? If you do, I'll give you half of Yi Zhuo's property as a reward." Gu Chuan looked at me deeply and said, "Qingxi, are we really starting to talk about money between us? You should know I'd risk everything for you." Gu Chuan's gaze held a profound depth when he looked at me. I understood perfectly well what he meant. It's just that I failed to see his worth back then, and now I feel I don't deserve him. Gu Chuan didn't press me for any promises. He simply said he would handle everything and asked me to set my mind at ease while waiting. How could I possibly set my mind at ease? Worry consumes me every waking moment. After all, I was murdered in my past life, and I don't want to meet a violent end again this time around. I'm going to fight back. Fortunately, during the divorce cooling-off period, I had hired a private investigator to look into Mu Tian. I know Mu Tian's secret. I handed over all of Mu Tian's secrets to Gu Chuan, and he told me to wait for his good news. He sent me to a safe place to wait, and every day felt like an eternity. Time flew by, and soon enough, the wedding day for Yi Zhuo and Mu Tian arrived. Their wedding dominated most of the trending topics in the entertainment section. Mu Xianqian's wedding dress, diamond ring, and even the venue, every detail was nothing short of the finest. Mu Xianqian made a grand spectacle of her happiness, announcing it to everyone far and wide. I knew I was her target. She thought I was in love with Yi Zhuo and that seeing all this would make me jump out impulsively. That way, she could seize the moment to deal me a crushing blow and finally put her mind at ease, seeing that I had no intention of showing myself. Mu Tian felt insulted and actually sent me a threatening message through my social media account's backend. "Su Qingxi, if you want to live, get rid of the baby in your womb immediately. I'm giving you one chance to choose. Abort that child and promise to renounce the half of the assets Yi Zhuo gave you, and I might let you live." The hatred of 2 lifetimes filled my chest. Since they insisted on being this deranged, they'd better not blame me for what comes next. Let's all burn together. The day of Yi Zhuo and Mu Tian's wedding was blessed with perfect weather. Groom Yi Zhuo and bride Mu Tian stood at the entrance in their custom-tailored wedding attire, greeting the distinguished guests. Despite it being his wedding day, Yi Zhuo's face showed little joy. Over 30 days had passed since his divorce from Su Qingxi. He hadn't heard from Su Qingxi at all. His messages went unanswered, her phone was unreachable. as if Su Qingxi had vanished from the face of the earth without a trace. He kept watch outside Su Qingxi's apartment for a long time, but there was no sign of her returning. Later, a fire broke out in Su Qingxi's apartment, and someone died in the blaze. He knew the deceased wasn't Su Qingxi. After all, there was no child in the victim's womb. Yizhua intended to keep searching for Su Qingxi, but Mu Tiantian stopped him. Mu Tiantian insisted that Su Qingxi must have gone into hiding, adding that someone had spotted her abroad. She showed Yizhua photos of Su Qingxi being intimate with another man. Mu Xianchen told Yizhua she must have taken the money and run off with some young stud. Yizhua refused to believe it. Impossible, she loves me too much to ever elope with another man. Don't be so sure. With half your fortune, she could have any man she wants, even if just to get back at you, she'd find someone. How else do you explain her blocking you and ignoring your messages? Hearing Mu Xianchen's words, rage surged through Yizhua's heart. He realized he couldn't bear the thought of Su Qingxi leaving him to be with another man. Su Qingxi was his woman, and she belonged to him alone for the rest of her life. Mu Tiantian advised Yizhua that since Su Qingxi wanted to take his money and run off with another man, he could make things difficult for her during the asset division, force Su Qingxi to show up, and then it'll just be a matter of whether she's been seeing other men behind his back. With no better alternatives, Yizhua tacitly approved Mu Tiantian's approach. He sent word to Su Qingxi's lawyer that any discussion of assets required Su Qingxi's personal involvement, otherwise he wouldn't budge. After sending the message, Yizhua waited for Su Qingxi to come to him on her own. He even considered calling off the wedding with Mu Tiantian if Su Qingxi took the initiative to appear. He plans to remarry Su Qingxi, while keeping Mu Tiantian as his mistress with a financial settlement. Given his lack of heirs, having one more child wouldn't hurt anyway. Yizhua felt he had made concessions on all fronts, certain that Su Qingxi would agree. Yet days after the news spread, Su Qingxi remained completely silent. It wasn't until yesterday that he received a message from Su Qingxi. Su Qingxi said she would give him a grand gift on his wedding day with Mu Tiantian. Getting a message from Su Qingxi after her long disappearance sent Yizhua into raptures. He immediately messaged back to press Su Qingxi for answers, but she suddenly went offline again. Yizhua tossed and turned all night, his mind racing through countless possibilities. Why would Su Qingxi suddenly send such a message? Was she planning to disrupt his wedding with Mu Tiantian? Having heard nothing from Su Qingxi for over a month, he missed her terribly. If Su Qingxi were to cause a scene by trying to disrupt the wedding, he could still find it in his heart to forgive her. But the ceremony was about to begin, and there was still no word from Su Qingxi. Was she even coming? Yizhua frowned, his mind elsewhere as he kept checking his phone. Among all the messages and calls, none were the one he was hoping for. Yizhua was distracted, and as the bride, Mu Tiantian was equally preoccupied. Mu Tiantian looked absolutely stunning today. Though her nods and smiles to the wedding guests at the entrance seemed rather perfunctory, her main focus, much like Yizhua's, was on her phone. Finally, a message came through on Mu Tiantian's phone. After reading the message, her expression shifted dramatically. She restrained her coquettish tone and said to Yizhua, "Darling, I'm feeling a bit unwell in my stomach. I'm going to the restroom first." Yizhua nodded perfunctorily, watching Mu Tiantian's figure depart as a message came in on his phone. After reading the message, Yizhua's expression froze. Mu Tiantian almost sprinted into the restroom. After shutting the bathroom door, she made a call and snarled through gritted teeth, "What the hell do you want? Haven't I made myself perfectly clear?" A light chuckle came from the other end of the line. "Give me $1 billion, and I'll take this secret to the grave. Otherwise, you'll find out exactly what's coming for you." Though Mu Tiantian's face twisted with menace, her words came out laced with pleading. "I don't have $1 billion, you know that. I've never had much money." The other person sneered, "I don't care about that. All I want is $1 billion. Just tell me if you agree or not. If you refuse, I'll immediately send the information I have to Yizhua. What do you think he'll do to you when he finds out the child in your belly isn't his, but another man's? Most importantly, your identity. Once he knows what kind of person you are, Yizhua will never let you off. You'll meet a terrible end." "What if I give you the money? Will that work?" Mu Tiantian was cornered. She knew full well that her weakness had been completely exposed to the other party. This wasn't the time to confront them head-on. She needed to play weak, buy time to pinpoint their location, and then eliminate the threat with one decisive strike. Mu Tiantian shrieked, "Give me your bank account number, I'll transfer the money right now. But let me warn you, take the money and keep your mouth shut. If you dare leak my secrets, You'll be signing your own death warrant. The other party chuckled reassuringly. Don't worry, money talks. I'll take your cash and make your problems disappear. Your secrets are safe with me. After reiterating her warnings a while longer, Mu Tian finally ended the call. She cursed under her breath and immediately made another call. Brother Yang, have you located the target? Got it, the man called Brother Yang replied. Good. Mu Tian sighed in relief while angrily venting to Brother Yang. Who the hell is this bitch? She knows everything about us and has the audacity to demand $1 billion in hush money. How dare she provoke us like this? This is absolutely unacceptable. Send your men to track her down immediately. Don't kill her yet. Just break her legs. I'll deal with her personally when I have time. I'll make sure she lives in agony. Brother Yang chuckled. Got it. Leave the killing to us. Right now, your priority is you and Yi Shuo. I'm looking forward to seeing you become Mrs. Yi. Just don't get so distracted by his looks that you forget your real goal. Don't worry, Brother Yang, I've never lost sight of our plan. Once Yi Shuo and I are married, I'll find a way to get rid of him slowly. With the child in my belly, I'll be the legitimate heir to his fortune. Oh, and one more thing, we need to find Su Qingxi and kill her along with the child she's carrying. I don't want any extra competition for the inheritance after Yi Shuo is gone. Brother Yang laughed and agreed. Short on time to chat further, Mu Tian hung up, composed herself, and prepared to leave the restroom. The moment the door swung open, a fist came flying straight at her face. Mu Xianchen was completely caught off guard by the sudden attack, with no time to dodge, and took the blow head-on with a sickening thud. Driven by rage, the assailant showed no mercy, and the impact left Mu Xianchen's nose crooked and mangled. Blood gushed out in a torrent, and amidst the splatter, Mu Xianchen caught a glimpse of a twisted, contorted face. Mu Tian instinctively cried out, "Darling!" Another heavy punch answered her, as Yi Shuo could no longer contain his rage. He never imagined he could be so thoroughly outmaneuvered. When his phone buzzed with a message telling him to wait in the restroom, he thought it was just Su Qingxi playing one of her pranks, until his phone started receiving a continuous stream of video files. Footage showed Mu Tian entering and leaving a plastic surgery clinic, and lying on an operating table to have her hymen restored. Yi Shuo was shaking with rage. The girl he'd believed to be pure and innocent turned out to be a promiscuous woman who'd slept around. She had actually been deceiving herself all along, yet he failed to see through Mu Xianchen's vicious ambitions beneath her innocent facade. He actually betrayed his wife for a woman like that. Yi Shuo was consumed with hatred, unwilling to accept that he had been deceived. Mu Xianchen adored him so much, her eyes sparkled like stars when she looked at him. How could she possibly be lying to herself? There must be a reason behind this. Then she thought of Su Qingxi, who had vanished without a trace for over a month. Yi Shuo convinced himself that this must be Su Qingxi's scheme. Su Qingxi would never agree to divorce him so readily. She loathes Mu Tian and wants her gone for good, so all these things about Mu Tian must have been fabricated by Su Qingxi. Su Qingxi is trying to drive a wedge between him and Mu Tian. After all, Su Qingxi had sent a message saying she would give him a grand wedding gift on the day of his and Mu Tian's ceremony. Yi Shuo was tormented inside, half hoping it was one of Su Qingxi's schemes, half fearing it might all be true. He had truly been outmaneuvered by Mu Tian. He rushed frantically to the designated spot, waiting for Su Qingxi to show up so he could confront her. Instead of Su Qingxi showing up in person, all he got was a phone call from her. Yi Shuo answered the call and heard every word of Mu Tian's conversation loud and clear. He couldn't believe he'd been completely played by Mu Tian from start to finish. All that talk about affection, the child, marriage, it was all a damn lie. Mu Xianchen's sole objective has always been my assets. She's been manipulating and scheming against me from the very beginning. Yi Shuo's hatred reached its boiling point. He couldn't stomach being played for a fool by a woman like her. His pride wouldn't allow him to be made a mockery of like this. Blinded by rage, Yi Shuo grabbed Mu Tian's head and slammed it violently against the wall. He then began kicking her stomach with brutal force, each blow more vicious than the last. Mu Tian's pleas for mercy grew progressively weaker, fading into barely audible whimpers. Exhausted from the assault, Yi Shuo released her hair, panting heavily as he stepped back. Mu Tian collapsed to the ground with a thud, her support gone. Yi Shuo saw her pristine white wedding dress stained crimson. Not only that, but blood was gushing from between her legs. For the wedding guests, this day turned out to be earth-shattering. The guests in the hall were all distinguished VIPs invited by Yi Shuo, holding significant influence in the city. everyone in the hall chatted animatedly while eagerly awaiting the bride and groom's entrance for the wedding ceremony. However, an unexpected situation arose. The premier wedding host repeatedly called for the couple to enter from the stage but received no response. Then, the festive music playing on the wedding screens abruptly ceased. Then came bizarre sights and sounds. The bride, in her custom wedding gown, hid in the restroom, viciously haggling with someone before contacting a man named Brother Yang to hire a hitman. Immediately after, the groom appeared and violently attacked the bride. Everyone watched in horror as the groom assaulted the bride, leaving her battered beyond recognition and bleeding profusely. Someone finally snapped out of it and called the police. The police took away the bride and groom, one sent to the hospital, the other handcuffed and hauled to the station. The screen then cut to a different scene. It was a secret recording of the bride visiting a clinic to seek a sperm donor. The bride, Mu Tian Tian, had no idea her donor visit had been filmed. Then everyone understood the source of the groom's rage. A gold digger had tricked the groom with a child conceived through sperm donation. No wonder the groom was so enraged that he would resort to such violence against Mu Tian Tian. Then it became known to all that the groom, Yizhua, suffered from oligospermia. After Yizhua violently assaulted Mu Tian Tian, she lost her unborn child and was rushed to the hospital by police for emergency treatment due to severe injuries. Yizhua was taken into police custody for questioning on charges of intentional assault. The incident escalated into a major case, prompting police to deploy additional forces for multi-pronged containment and arrests. The entire criminal network backing Mu Tian Tian was apprehended. The trial concluded 6 months after the verdict was announced, with Mu Tian Tian and the mastermind known as Brother Yang receiving life sentences as the principal offenders. Yizhua was also detained by the police for 6 months for violently assaulting Mu Tian Tian. After exhaustive efforts by his lawyer, Yizhua was finally released on medical parole. Upon his release from prison, Yizhua began exhaustively searching for any trace of my whereabouts. Eventually he tracked down my address and showed up laden with gifts and a rose bear. The doorbell rang just as Gu Chuan had me pinned against the couch, kissing me senseless. The incessant doorbell shattered the intimate moment, and I pulled the door open with visible irritation. Yizhua stood there with an ingratiating smile. "Darling, Qingxi, I've come to see you and the baby." I didn't move, just looked at him with a mocking smile. "Don't you think it's a little too late for that? It's all my fault. I was deceived by that bitch Mu Tian Tian. Qingxi, you have to believe me. I just had a momentary lapse in judgment. I'll turn over a new leaf, I promise. Let's live happily as a family of 3. I sneered and gently touched my stomach. And so, Yizhua's gaze fell on my flat abdomen, and he reached out in disbelief. I took a step back as a hand reached out from behind me, blocking Yizhua's movement. "What do you think you're doing?" Yizhua's gaze fell upon Gu Chuan, who was shielding me protectively like a mother bear guarding her cub. "You and him, it's exactly what it looks like," Gu Chuan chimed in with a cheerful smile. "We've already gotten our marriage license, and the wedding planning is underway. Since we don't want any unpleasant people there, you won't be receiving an invitation." Yizhua stared at the intimate scene between Gu Chuan and me, his face a mask of disbelief. "You, how could you? When did you two get together? What about the child? What about our child? Someone like you doesn't deserve to have children. Since you're so fond of cheating and keeping a mistress, why don't you go have a baby with one of them instead?" Hearing Gu Chuan's sarcastic words, Yizhua let out a pained cry of anguish. "It's not like that. It's not like that, Qingxi. You love me so much. How could you bear to give up our child? Why would she have a child for someone like you? Do you even deserve it?" The door slammed shut with a heavy thud, and Yizhua collapsed to the floor, seeing everything clearly. As the door closed, Gu Chuan inside lifted Su Qingxi and captured her lips in a kiss. Yizhua understood exactly what this meant. This wasn't how it was supposed to be. How could Su Qingxi, who loved him so deeply, abort their child and be with another man? Why? Yizhua couldn't figure out the answer, and no one told him the reason. Overwhelmed by rage, he coughed up blood and collapsed. Story 2. My boyfriend, who was working overtime, suddenly sent me a message. "I already have a girlfriend. Please delete each other's contact. Thank you." I slowly sent a question mark. And then I saw the legendary red exclamation mark. My boyfriend has a girlfriend, so, who am I? 1. Zhou Yu has been working overtime a lot recently. I feel sorry for his busyness and also lament that the time he spends with me is getting less and less. Just as I was about to pack the soup cooked by the aunt and go to his company to see him, I received a WeChat message from Zhou Yu. "I already have a girlfriend. Please delete each other's contact. Thank you. At first glance, I found this message a bit funny. This guy has some sense of male virtue, however, why did he send the message to me? I slowly sent a question mark. Well, it turns out that the girlfriend is not me. My boyfriend is in a relationship and has a girlfriend, and I was blocked. And I saw that red exclamation mark. I've always had a hot temper. Without thinking, I dialed Zhou Yu's phone number. But before I could open my mouth to question him, I heard a sweet and delicate female voice on the other end of the phone. Who is this? There really is a woman by his side. To be honest, I can't believe what I heard. Zhou Yu has always adhered strictly to male virtue and never allows any opposite sex other than me to get close to him. He even pays attention to maintaining a distance from the same sex. But today, he let a woman answer his phone. Where's Zhou Yu? Ask him to answer the phone. I frowned and said coldly into the phone. The woman on the other side let out a contemptuous laugh. Looking for you. He's busy now and doesn't have time. Ask him to answer the phone. I raised my voice and almost shouted into the phone. Miss, I advise you to have some self-respect. You has a girlfriend, and you're still pestering him like this. Don't you know it's demeaning? She said with a giggle and then hung up the phone. If I was just angry before, now I'm really furious. I directly drove to Zhou Yu's company. If this scumbag man dares to find a woman behind my back, he has to be prepared to pay the price. It was a little past 9 o'clock in the evening. In Zhou Yu's company, except for the lights on the top floor, everything else was already dark. There was no one downstairs except a security guard. The security guard was a bit surprised to see me coming. Miss Yan, are you here to pick up President Zhou after work? I didn't answer and directly walked into the elevator and went up to the top floor. The whole office building was very quiet, but when I reached the top floor, I could clearly hear the sound of people talking. I burst into Zhou Yu's office, and the words of accusation were almost on the tip of my tongue, but I saw that his office was filled with people, and it seemed they were discussing something. At this moment, everyone turned around and looked at me in surprise, stared at by more than a dozen pairs of eyes. I subconsciously swallowed my saliva, but I still accurately saw the woman sitting in the corner who didn't fit in with this room. At this moment, she was wearing a suit jacket and looking at me with a half-smile. Yan, why are you here? Zhou Yu was very surprised to see me come and directly stood up from his chair and walked towards me, probably noticing my unhappiness. Zhou Yu quickened his pace a bit nervously, but he was still a step too late. The woman sitting in the corner suddenly rushed forward and walked in front of me one step ahead of him. She even stood between us with her body. Miss, we're having a meeting. I hope you don't disturb us. And she made a gesture of invitation to me with a smile, obviously trying to drive me out. I gave her a cold look and ignored her. Instead, I looked past her and turned my gaze to Zhou Yu behind her. Do I need to go out? Zhou Yu, of course not. Zhou Yu, with extreme agility, bypassed that woman and directly came to my side and tried to hold my hand, but I dodged. He was obviously startled by my evasive action and asked cautiously, Yan, what's wrong? It's okay, you can have the meeting first, I said coldly. Zhou Yu looked back at the people in the office and quickly pulled me inside, intending to let me sit beside him. When passing by that woman, he directly ignored her. You, who is this miss? Now that the company is having a meeting, isn't it inappropriate for her to come in? Ignored. The woman's face didn't look good, but she still forced a smile and stepped forward to block me from entering. Zhou Yu stopped and frowned at the woman, looking as if he had just noticed her. Zhu Jing, why are you still here? I'm accompanying you to the meeting. Zhu Jing's expression froze, and she said awkwardly, what meeting are you accompanying me to? The general assistant doesn't even need to attend tonight's meeting. What are you, the assistant to the general assistant, doing here? Zhou Yu's tone was displeased, and he didn't seem to be pretending. So Zhou Yu didn't know that this woman had been sitting in the office for so long. The others in the office also seemed to be taken aback and looked at the girl named Zhu Jing in surprise. There's only people in your office in this whole building. I was scared outside, so, that's why I waited for you in the office. Zhu Jing's eyes flickered, and she looked at Zhou Yu with a pair of watery eyes full of grievances. Judging from Zhou Yu's tone, this woman is the assistant to his assistant. But this woman keeps calling him you and saying I'm waiting for you. It seems that the relationship between these two is not ordinary. I crossed my arms and glanced at Zhou Yu indifferently, feeling my gaze. Zhou Yu stood even more upright. Yan, I have nothing to do with her. It was my father who asked me to arrange a job for her in the company. So I let her in. After that, he turned around and said to Zhu Jing coldly, Zhu Jing, today you said you had nothing to do after work, so you took the place of the general assistant and stayed in the company. Since you stayed in the company, then do your own job well and don't appear where you shouldn't. His voice was cold, and there was some impatience in his tone. He waved his hand at Zhu Jing to let her go out. Zhu Jing didn't expect that Zhou Yu would actually not give her any face in public. She stared at Zhou Yu blankly for 2 seconds and then pointed at me angrily and said, "What about her? She's also an unrelated person, why can she stay?" Zhou Yu turned around and glanced at her indifferently. He didn't intend to explain anything and just coldly spat out 2 words, "Go out." These 2 words made Zhu Jing's face turn pale, and she turned around and left the office. I didn't notice that she was still here during the meeting just now, Zhou Yu explained as he pulled me to sit beside him. I nodded to signal him to continue the meeting. The people in the company didn't show any discomfort at my appearance. After the meeting ended and everyone left, I took out my phone and put the chat page just now in front of Zhou Yu. "Explain this," I said coldly. Actually, I wasn't that angry anymore at this moment, when Zhou Yu saw the content on the screen. His pupils shrank slightly, and he reached out to touch my shoulder. Yan, wait a moment, I'll give you an explanation." After that, he walked towards the outside of the office. I immediately followed him and saw this man quickly find Zhu Jing and walk up to her and stretch out his hand. "Give me my phone back." Too. Zhu Jing was obviously stunned by his cold expression. The woman swayed slightly before taking out Zhou Yu's phone from her pocket and holding it out with both hands. Her eyes were pitiful and there was a hint of ambiguous tension. Zhou Yu quickly took the phone back from the woman's hands and found the blacklist. His whole face turned dark. This was the first time I saw him like this, and I was a bit puzzled and stepped forward to take a look. Goodness, besides me, there were several other female accounts in the blacklist. I took a closer look. And they were all the WeChat accounts of the female presidents or female project leaders who cooperated with the company. "On what basis did you touch my phone?" "I remember I put it on the desk to charge." Zhou Yu must have been very angry, and he didn't control his volume because of his anger when he spoke. The leaders of various departments who were packing up and preparing to leave work all stuck their heads out because of this sound. Zhu Jing subconsciously trembled at this volume. And her expression became even more aggrieved. I just wanted to help you. Help me, you're here to help me go bankrupt, right?" Zhou Yu was so angry that his hands were slightly shaking with anger as he looked at the people in the blacklist. I know it's not easy for him to achieve what he has today. It's not easy for him to start his own business and get to where he is now. He blocked several company presidents or leaders at once, just as I was about to step forward to soothe him. My phone started ringing. Without exception, they were all friends who were blocked by Zhou Yu and had my WeChat asking me what was going on, and they even suspected that I was checking his phone. People in the business world, although they were polite in their words, I knew they were questioning me, so I gave Zhu Jing a fierce glare and still said to Zhou Yu with some dissatisfaction, "Deal with it immediately." Then I walked aside and started replying to those friends' messages. Fortunately, for the sake of my Yan family, they didn't really get angry. Plus, Zhou Yu has strong working ability himself, and the comprehensive strength of the company is also there. After hearing that his phone was used by someone else without permission, they all expressed their understanding, especially after hearing that I was also blocked. Some people hesitated and reminded me to pay attention to the relationship between Zhou Yu and that woman. After communicating with everyone, my eyes also darkened. Although Zhou Yu has been on my side today, he really hasn't given me a reasonable explanation. After taking several deep breaths and forcibly suppressing the anger in my heart, I returned to the hall again, but unexpectedly, there were actually 2 policemen in the hall this time. Zhou Yu was frowning and angrily saying something to them, and Zhu Jing was trembling at this moment, looking at Zhou Yu in disbelief. You called the police to arrest me." Her voice trembled a bit. After seeing that Zhou Yu didn't intend to pay attention to her, seeing that Zhou Yu ignored her, she turned to the 2 policemen beside her. She almost stepped forward in 2 steps and grabbed the policeman's arm. "Uncle Policeman, we're friends. I was just joking. We have a good relationship. You can't arrest me." The policeman took 2 steps back in fright and looked at Zhu Jing with a complicated expression. "Miss, this matter can't be regarded as a joke just because you say it is. You used this gentleman's phone without permission and caused him substantial harm." The policeman explained patiently, "We're not friends, and there's no such thing as a joke. She's just an employee of the company." Zhou Yu said unhappily, "Please investigate thoroughly, officer." I suspect she's here to sabotage my company. Hearing this, Zhu Jing's face turned as white as a piece of paper. She bit her lower lip lightly and looked at Zhou Yu with tears in her eyes, looking very pitiful. When she found that Zhou Yu didn't pay attention to her at all and instead came to my side to ask me about the situation of my communication just now, she finally couldn't hold it in anymore. I just think you're not the same as before now. Since you already have a girlfriend, you should keep a distance from all the girls in your WeChat. I just wanted to help you. A crystal clear tear fell from the corner of Zhu Jing's eye at the right moment. Just one tear. It didn't look messy. But it made her look especially pitiful. Unfortunately, Zhou Yu, who was angry, didn't see this performance of the beautiful tear. He said angrily, "What does my friend list have to do with you? You even blocked my girlfriend first. You're not trying to help me keep a distance from girls, you probably want me to die alone." As he spoke, he was still not satisfied and pointed at an avatar in the blacklist. "This Ms. Jiang is the same age as my mother. Do I also need you to help me keep a distance from her? I'm your boss, you do what I tell you to do. Don't do things that I don't tell you to do. This is the rule. Don't you even have this basic professional quality?" Then, he said to the policeman, "Officer, there are a lot of business secrets in my phone. She, an employee who just joined the company, stole my phone, which has caused harm to my company's property. I hope you will investigate it thoroughly." I was stunned as I watched from the side. I originally just came here to catch him cheating, but instead, I met a self-absorbed green tea girl. 3. What's more unexpected is that Zhou Yu actually called the police directly. This also made me feel more at ease about the relationship between the two of them. Maybe my standing beside Zhou Yu again stimulated this woman. She actually broke free from the policeman's restraint and rushed directly in front of us and pointed at my nose and questioned Zhou Yu. "What about her? Why can she enter the office? Why do you draw a clear line with me when you have a girlfriend, but you protect her everywhere? Are you out of your mind?" Zhou Yu said impatiently. "Can't you really tell that she's my girlfriend? Don't you recognize the word wife in my remark? Don't play tricks on me here." Zhu Jing was so scared by the shout that she hid behind the policeman. It seemed that she was really afraid at this moment. The policeman also understood what was going on at this time, but indeed, Zhu Jing's behavior had caused losses to Zhou Yu. They first asked if they could reach a private settlement, but Zhou Yu firmly disagreed. "Impossible, sending that kind of message to my wife. Isn't this making me a bachelor? I can't stand it." Because of Zhou Yu's insistence on not reaching a settlement, Zhu Jing was taken away. Before leaving, this woman pitifully tugged at the suit jacket on her body and stood in front of Zhou Yu and asked, "I'm cold, can I borrow this jacket to wear out?" Zhou Yu glanced at the jacket and said lightly, "It's not mine." At this time, the design director who had been watching the drama on the side finally jumped out of his office. "It's mine. I just casually put it on the chair next to President Zhou. I didn't expect you to take it by mistake. Please give it back to me. I'm cold too." Zhu Jing's face froze. She angrily pulled off the jacket and threw it into the design director's arms. At the same time, she didn't forget to turn around and give me a fierce glare before leaving with the police, looking at the resentful gaze that Zhu Jing cast at me when she left. I couldn't help but find it a bit funny. What was this all about? The green tea girl tried to provoke me, but ended up sending herself to the police station. Later, Zhou Yu told me that Zhu Jing was the daughter of his neighbor. That family moved to the north 10 years ago and had just come back recently. As soon as they came back, they visited Zhou Yu's family. The two families had a good relationship before, and now that they were back, they got in touch again. When they heard that Zhu Jing was still looking for a job, they asked Zhou Yu to arrange a job for her in the company. Zhou Yu had almost forgotten about this person. Who would have thought that she would cause trouble on her first day at work? 4. I was a bit speechless and remarked with a sentence, "Is this another plot of childhood sweethearts?" Unexpectedly, after hearing this, Zhou Yu gave me a performance of pretending to vomit on the spot. "I don't have such a scheming childhood sweetheart. Since she was a child, she has always caused trouble. Liked to pretend to be pitiful, and then shifted the blame onto me. In the end, she would say with a wronged look, 'It's all my fault.'" After imitating Zhu Jing's appearance and saying this, Zhou Yu's whole body shuddered, as if he was trying to shake off the goosebumps on his body. "Anyway, I don't want to have anything to do with her in my life. If it weren't for my father's request this time, I wouldn't have let her into the company at all." It is said that although she was taken to the police station, Zhu Jing didn't receive any punishment in the end, because she went to complain to Zhou Yu's father while crying and sniveling. Amidst Zhou Yu's father's angry scolding, Zhou Yu finally chose to reach a private settlement. She walked out of the police station that night. I thought that since Zhou Yu had already been so decisive this time, she should have known when to quit. After all, her actions were really too stupid to bear watching. But unexpectedly, not long after, she added me on WeChat, and it was even a business card recommended by Zhou Yu. After adding me as a friend, she immediately sent me a photo. In the photo, there was a big round table with quite a few people sitting around it. The only people I could recognize were Zhou Yu's parents and Zhou Yu himself. At this moment, Zhou Yu was sitting next to the person taking the photo, smiling and picking up food and putting it into the person's bowl. He looked gentle and considerate. Yan Wan, you don't really think that you like Xiu, do you? He has always liked me. Today is the day when we met each other's parents and officially discussed the wedding date. After experiencing the last incident, I didn't believe this woman's words at all. Regarding the last message, if I hadn't gone to verify it immediately and Zhou Yu hadn't called the police directly, that incident would definitely have become a knot between us. So the moment I saw the photo, I didn't feel the same anger as last time. I just casually dialed Zhou Yu's phone number. It took a while on the other side. He should have found a quiet place before answering my call. Yan, what's wrong? The man's tone was cheerful, and he seemed to be in a good mood. Where are you? Zhou Yu was taken aback for a moment. Because of our mutual trust, I rarely asked him so directly. I'm having a meal with my parents here at Baiyue. Is Zhu Jing there too? Yeah, the two families are having a meal together today. Zhou Yu's answer was very natural, and there was no sign of guilt in his tone. I was silent for a moment and said, check WeChat. Then I sent him a screenshot of the photo and those words that Zhu Jing sent to me. Is she crazy? She wasn't sitting next to me at all. It was my niece sitting next to me. Zhou Yu was obviously angry. He asked me to wait and hung up the phone first. Not long after, he sent me a screenshot. The screenshot was from his little niece's moments. Both photos were taken by his little niece. Yan, come over too. We must make things clear today. This Zhu Jing is just crazy. I was a bit unsure. Is it not appropriate for me to go to a gathering of your two families? What's inappropriate about it? My parents really like you, and if we don't make this matter clear face to face today, Zhu Jing's constant interference will affect our relationship. At the end, he was obviously flustered and firmly said, yes, you must come. I'll send the driver to pick you up. 5. Thinking about what Zhou Yu said about making things clear at once, I changed my clothes and went out. Baiyue wasn't far from where I was, and I arrived in about 20 minutes. As soon as I arrived, I saw Zhou Yu come to the door to pick me up. Seeing that he was still angry, I quickly went up and patted his shoulder to soothe him. As a result, he still looked wronged. Fortunately, you came to ask me, what would I do if you left without saying a word like those women in novels? I put my hand on my forehead. This was my fault. When we got together, I was on guard against this guy not being able to tell the green tea girl apart. I found a bunch of Jihu articles and showed them to him. Later, I found that this guy couldn't even see the green tea girl at all. All he could think about was that he couldn't let me be wronged, otherwise I would leave. After being soothed by a hug, Zhou Yu led me into their private room. When we entered the room, the people in the private room were chatting and laughing. When father and mother Zhou saw me appear, they were very happy and quickly called the waiter to add a seat for me. Yan, come quickly and sit next to auntie. Mother Zhou happily asked the waiter to put the chair next to her, which was just next to Zhou Yu, and indeed, there was a little girl under 10 years old sitting next to Zhou Yu's seat. Sitting next to the little girl was Zhu Jing. When Zhu Jing saw me come in, she was obviously stunned, and her face also turned ugly. Zhou Yu, who is this? Why did you bring an outsider to a gathering of our two families? A slightly older woman sitting next to Zhu Jing, who seemed to be Zhu Jing's mother, said in a sarcastic tone after seeing me sit down. Hearing this, Mother Zhou's expression changed. Auntie gently patted the back of my hand to reassure me, then she smiled and said, this is no outsider, this is my daughter-in-law, Yan Wan. So this is Zhou Yu's girlfriend. The woman forced a smile and continued, the little girl really keeps a close eye on him, she even has to follow him when he has a meal with his parents. This sentence made me seem like an unreasonable person who restricts her boyfriend. She was an elder, and logically speaking, I should respect her. But some elders really don't deserve my respect. Auntie, you misunderstood. Didn't your daughter say that you were here today to discuss my boyfriend's marriage with her? I can't let my boyfriend suffer. So I came to take a look. I smiled brightly and even provocatively raised my eyebrows at Zhu Jing. When I came in, Zhou Yu said that if I was wronged, I should just retort and never let myself be wronged. Hearing my words, Father and Mother Zhou looked at Zhu Jing in surprise. What marriage are you talking about? When Zhu Jing heard me say this, she was obviously flustered and even knocked over the water cup in her hand. What marriage? I don't know. Although she said she didn't know, her nervous look made it obvious that she was guilty. Seeing this, Mother Zhou's face darkened. Jing, we will consider the marriage between our Zhou Yu and Yan Yan ourselves. We don't need you to worry about this, Auntie. I really don't know what Miss Yan is talking about. Zhu Jing stood up in a hurry and quickly explained. But her nervous look turned into a wronged look in an instant. She lowered her head slightly, and her voice had an uncontrollable tremor. Auntie, I know that I did a bad thing with good intentions last time, which made Miss Yan have a prejudice against me, but Miss Yan doesn't need to slander me like this, does she? As she spoke, she even pretended to sob twice. Yeah, didn't Jing already make it clear about the last thing? It was all a misunderstanding. She just worried that Zhou Yu was too much of a straight man and didn't know how to keep a distance from other women, which would make his girlfriend angry, so she did that. Zhu Jing's mother quickly went up and hugged Zhu Jing into her arms, and then gave me a fierce glare. Miss Yan, it's already bad enough that you came uninvited. What do you mean by targeting our Jing like this as soon as you come? Jing grew up with Zhou Yu since she was a child. If she really wanted to compete with you, do you think you would have any chance? 6. I was speechless. Although I had already seen that Zhu Jing's mother was not a normal person, I didn't expect her to say such things. However, the one who reacted the most to these words was Zhou Yu. He almost jumped out and directly stood in front of me. Aunt Li, Yan didn't come uninvited. She's my girlfriend, and I asked her to come. As for me and Zhu Jing, there has never been anything between us. I have never liked her, and there has never been anything about Zhu Jing between me and my girlfriend. These words almost left no face for the other side. The faces of Zhu Jing's family also darkened. Zhu Jing looked up at Zhou Yu from her mother's arms. This look was extremely skillful, full of grievances and forbearance. She looked like a poor little woman abandoned by a scumbag. The atmosphere in the whole private room became even more awkward. What are you doing? Why are you making a scene when we're all sitting here having a meal? Zhu Jing's father quickly stood up and pressed Zhu Jing and his wife back into their seats. Then he said, since we're getting together, we should be happy. There's no need to make things unpleasant, right? As he spoke, he raised his wine glass and wanted to clink glasses with Father Zhou. Father Zhou hadn't said a word, but judging from his expression, he was also unhappy. But he still raised his glass and clinked it with him. Since things were like this, Zhou Yu and I didn't plan to say more. Anyway, Zhou Yu had already made things very clear. Who would have thought that although we decided to let it go, the other side didn't plan to? Because of what happened just now, everyone was feeling awkward during this meal. The only one who was having a good time at the table was Zhou Yu's little niece. Unexpectedly, not long after the atmosphere had just eased up, Zhu Jing's mother suddenly laughed and said, in the blink of an eye, you and Jing have grown up so much. I still remember the way they played together when they were children. When talking about the children's childhood, Father and Mother Zhou's expressions also softened a lot, and they couldn't help but sigh. That time really passed quickly, but unexpectedly, the woman's next sentence was, I still remember that they even made a betrothal agreement when they were young. Zhou Yu has always said since he was a child that he would marry Jing and protect her when he grew up. After saying that, she seemed to suddenly realize that she had said the wrong thing and said to me, Miss Yan, don't mind, I just remembered what happened to these two children when they were young. We all know that betrothal agreements are not popular anymore now, and it won't affect you. I couldn't help but sneer. She said it wouldn't affect us. But she kept talking about the betrothal agreement. When Zhou Yu heard this, he immediately became unhappy. Auntie, I'm afraid you remembered it wrong. I never said I would marry her. It was you who always said that I was a boy and should protect girls, and you forced me to protect her. When talking about this, Zhou Yu seemed to be a bit wronged. Just because of this, all the delicious food my parents gave me since I was a child was taken by you and given to Zhu Jing. I almost burst out laughing, and the smile on the face of Zhu Jing's mother opposite me froze directly. It took her a while to react. Just as she was about to open her mouth to speak, Zhou Yu's mother spoke again. There was indeed such a thing as a betrothal agreement. Hearing this, Zhou Yu turned around and looked at his own mother in disbelief and exclaimed, Mom, what are you talking about? Unexpectedly, Mother Zhou just ignored him and continued to smile. However, It was your family who kept saying that the two children were a good match and could make a betrothal agreement. We have never agreed to it." Hearing this, Zhou nodded repeatedly and at the same time turned to look at me. "Yan, I told you that I have nothing to do with her." When Zhu Jing heard this, tears streamed down her face. She looked at Mother Zhou. "Auntie, don't you like me anymore? You said you liked me very much before and were willing to have me as your daughter-in-law." She had just said one after another that it wouldn't affect the relationship between me and Zhou Yu, but now she was saying she wanted to be someone else's daughter-in-law. This woman was really shameless. Hearing this, Mother Zhou was still smiling. She picked up the water cup in front of her, took a sip of water, and then pulled my hand and said, "I did say that. But that was just my wish, which doesn't mean that you is willing. Now that you has decided on Yan, then my daughter-in-law is Yan." These words were like a slap in the face of Zhu Jing's family. Zhu Jing's parents were a bit indignant and still wanted to argue. At this time, Father Zhou spoke up. "Lao Zhu, sister-in-law, the relationship between these children is not something that we parents should interfere in. Zhou Yu and Yan are very good together, and we also like Yan very much." After saying that, he looked at Zhu Jing again. "We watched Zhu Jing grow up when she was a child. The little girl is very nice, but she is really not suitable for Zhou Yu. I will introduce a better one to her in the future." As he spoke, he raised the wine glass in his hand and drank a glass in front of Zhu Jing's father. Zhu Jing's father had no choice but to agree and accompany him with a glass as well. It was obvious that he didn't dare to offend Zhou Yu's father. Even Zhu Jing's mother didn't dare to continue pestering and sat obediently in her seat with a forced smile. However, Zhu Jing stared at Zhou Yu closely with her big watery eyes and questioned, "You, do you really not like me?" "I don't believe it." Zhou Yu was directly shocked. "I just don't like you. What's there for you not to believe? If you don't like me, why did you help me so much since we were children? When the chubby deskmate bullied me when we were young, you helped me beat him up. That's because if I didn't help you, you would go home and cry to your mom that I didn't help you when I saw you being bullied at school. Then your mom would go and talk to my mom, and my mom would scold me. You don't know how much that chubby guy could hit. I really didn't want to fight with him." Zhou Yu was angry. Zhu Jing didn't expect it to be like this. She looked at Zhou Yu in disbelief, but still didn't give up. "Then why did you also beat up the boy who wrote me a love letter in the first year of junior high school?" I turned around in surprise and looked at Zhou Yu. Zhou Yu quickly grabbed my hand and said even more angrily, "You rejected that boy and said you liked me. That boy came to fight with me on his own. I didn't want to fight with him at all, and he broke one of my ribs." To be honest, I felt a bit embarrassed for Zhu Jing. Who would have thought that Zhu Jing still didn't give up? Then why did you arrange for me to join your company without saying a word when I came back this time and even made me your assistant? I heard that I'm the only assistant who was parachuted into your company." Zhou Yu directly put his hand on his forehead. "That's because you went to tell my dad that you hadn't found a suitable job yet, and my dad was kind enough to let you into my company, and you're not my assistant. You're the assistant to the general assistant. It was originally an idle position arranged for you, and the purpose was to prevent you from affecting my work. As a result, you almost made me lose several customers." The angrier he got, the more he said, and finally he directly said, "Zhu Jing, can you get out of my life?" In the end, Zhu Jing ran out with her face covered. After the dinner gathering, I looked at Father and Mother Zhou somewhat awkwardly and said sheepishly, "Uncle and Auntie, I'm sorry, I ruined your dinner gathering." 7. However, Mother Zhou shook her head. "It's okay. I should actually thank you for helping us see the true face of that girl. She used to be such a nice girl. How did she become like this?" Zhou Yu muttered beside me. "She wasn't nice before either." I couldn't help but find it a bit funny. After confirming that Father and Mother Zhou weren't angry about what happened today, I felt much more at ease. For a long time after that, I didn't see Zhu Jing again. However, her updates frequently appeared in my WeChat moments, and every day there were some words full of sadness and melancholy. It was so sour that it almost made my teeth fall out. Occasionally, she would also post photos of Zhou Yu and her when they were children, saying that she was nostalgic for the past. I saved the pictures and only cropped out the part of Zhou Yu. The guy was quite cute when he was a child, as delicate as carved jade, and not at all like the straight man he is now. I knew that all these were meant for me to see, but if I didn't take the bait, she couldn't do anything about it. But I didn't expect that not long after, she actually became an internet celebrity, because she was good-looking and could dance classical dance, wearing a traditional hanfu. She looked incredibly beautiful in front of the camera, in addition to her sad and melancholy posts in the moments every day. She would also share some wonderful clips of her live broadcasts and the encouragement from her fans. It seemed that she was really going to focus on her career, and both Zhou Yu and I were quite relieved, since she made such a fuss last time. Zhou Yu's parents thought that our marriage should be settled as soon as possible to prevent all sorts of people from getting involved. My parents were also very satisfied with Zhou Yu, so they had no objections. So, under Zhou Yu's urging, we set the date of our engagement at an extremely fast speed. The whole family was busy, and I was the only one who cared about whether the food at the engagement banquet would be delicious. Everything was going smoothly. The problem was that a few days before the engagement banquet, the news that the president of a listed company had abandoned his childhood sweetheart girlfriend and was getting engaged to his mistress began to spread wildly on the internet. The names of Zhou Yu and me, as Zhou Mao and Yan Maoan, were put in the most prominent position. Our photos were flying all over the internet. In today's society, people have a very high level of disgust for scumbag men and mistresses, especially me, as the so-called mistress who knows she's a mistress in their mouths, was severely scolded. Even those sad and non-mainstream quotes I posted during my young and non-mainstream period were dug up and criticized as green tea remarks. I was completely stunned. When Zhou Yu learned about this news, he called me immediately. Yan, don't worry, I will definitely handle this matter well, and it won't affect our engagement. Don't let the comments on the internet affect your mood. I knew he was worried about me, so I responded and told him not to worry. I also started to investigate on my own. It was obvious that the childhood sweetheart was Zhu Jing. So was it Zhu Jing who spread the rumors on the internet? But after checking the situation, I was a bit helpless. This woman was now a somewhat well-known internet celebrity. She didn't publicly claim that she was Zhou Yu's childhood sweetheart girlfriend. Instead, she made frequent mistakes and her eyes were red during a live broadcast last night. People in the live broadcast room all noticed that something was wrong with her and asked about her situation. Then she gently wiped the tears from the corner of her eye and pretended to be strong, saying, "It's nothing, it's just that my ex-boyfriend, who just broke up with me, is about to get engaged soon. I'm a bit sad, but it's okay, babies, I will become stronger and stronger." After that, she started dancing to the music again. This time, she danced the Liangzhu dance, which was desolate and beautiful. However, her words, "my ex-boyfriend, who just broke up with me, is about to get engaged soon," were instantly understood by netizens as the scumbag man cheating on her with a mistress. How could the fans bear to see their goddess being wronged? So the righteous fans began to look for this scumbag man and his mistress. Zhu Jing didn't want to say, but they still found Zhou Yu's information from Zhu Jing's moments in the previous period and the clues on her social media accounts. Of course, they also found my information. At first, it was just spread among Zhu Jing's fans. Later, because of Zhou Yu's identity as the boss of a listed company, it attracted the attention of more people in society. As a result, the stock of Zhou Yu's company also dropped sharply. The current problem was that Zhu Jing had never clearly slandered us on the internet. Every word she said didn't directly point to us. Everything was found out by the fans themselves. She just wiped her tears and persuaded her fans when they were excited. Forget it, don't disturb other people's lives. Everything seemed to have nothing to do with her. This also made it very difficult for us to directly take legal action against her. So this problem was really not easy to solve this time. 8. Zhou Yu first issued a clarification notice with the company's account, but it had no effect at all. Netizens only believed what they wanted to believe. Recently, seeing Zhou Yu so overwhelmed and still having to care about my situation and taking time to accompany me made me feel a bit sympathetic. Moreover, the company was something that Zhou Yu had worked so hard to build up. He must feel very bad because of this situation. However, things took a turn for the better soon. Someone released the video of us having a meal in the private room at Baiyue. The video was a bit shaky, but it was clear enough to identify the people speaking. In the video, Zhou Yu clearly said that he had never liked Zhu Jing, and the green tea words of Zhu Jing and her mother disgusted a large number of netizens. Especially when Zhu Jing cried and asked about Zhou Yu's kindness to her in the past and Zhou Yu's refutation. The title of tea girl became popular again for a while. Seriously, so there's no mistress at all. Everything was just imagined by this tea sister. My God, Mr. Zhou was so miserable when he was a child, right? Zhu Jing and her mother really exploited Mr. Zhou since he was a child. Mr. Zhou is such a wronged person. Damn it, I even scolded Mr. Zhou and his girlfriend severely because of Zhu Jing's crying before. You can tell from the video that the tea-sister was constantly provoking Mr. Zhou's girlfriend, saying that the dinner gathering was about discussing marriage. The tea-sister is really shameless. For a while, Zhu Jing was widely condemned on the internet. Her comment section was completely overwhelmed. She was so scared that she deleted several videos of her playing the victim and set it to only allow her own comments. I didn't expect that someone would record the video that day. I quickly called Zhou Yu to ask what was going on. On the other end of the phone, he laughed a bit proudly. We have to thank my niece for this, the niece sitting next to you. I didn't have time to communicate properly with that little niece because of Zhu Jing's family that day. Yeah, she said that as soon as you entered the private room, the Zhu family's faces changed, and she knew they would cause trouble. She habitually picked up her phone to record live. Unexpectedly, it really came in handy. I was speechless. After being stunned for a while, I said, the little kid is only a few years old. How is she so smart? Zhou, you didn't agree with this. Don't underestimate children. They're very smart. We really have to thank her this time for helping us turn this situation around. As soon as the public opinion on the internet changed, Zhu Jing couldn't hold on anymore. She tried to find people to lower the trending topics, but the popularity of the green tea's downfall was too high and couldn't be reduced at all. I heard that her father personally went to Zhou Yu's house to apologize, but was driven out by Father Zhou. Father Zhou pointed at his nose and angrily cursed. Zhu, do you really think I'm a fool? For the sake of our old relationship, when you said you wanted to come back and develop, I helped you so much. Is this how your family treats my son? Zhu Jing's father wanted to explain, but he only got the word get out. I didn't expect that in desperation, she would actually come to me in the end. She invited me to meet at a coffee shop, thinking that there should always be an end to this. I went. In the coffee shop, the woman looked haggard, but she was still so beautiful that it made people feel sorry for her. I'm sorry about the things on the internet. I'm apologizing to you. As soon as I sat down, she stood up and bowed to me. Her eyes were slightly red, looking as if she was sincerely admitting her mistake. I smiled but didn't say anything. Without getting a response from me, she stood there awkwardly for a while before sitting down on her own. I asked you out today to apologize to you. Besides, I just don't want you to be deceived. Do you really believe what Zhou Yu said, that he has never had anything to do with me? As she spoke, she took out a bunch of photos, all of which I had never seen before. In the photos, two children were holding hands and smiling brightly at the camera. There was even a photo where the little girl leaned over and kissed the little boy on the cheek, and both of them were smiling. I didn't release these photos because I didn't want to hurt you. You should be able to see how close our relationship was in the photos. It's just that he doesn't admit it now. Zhu Jing looked downcast and extremely sad. I flipped through all the photos. The more I looked, the angrier I got. All of them were intimate actions between the two of them when they were children. Finally, I couldn't help but throw the photos on the table. Zhu Jing, do you think I'm stupid? Zhu Jing looked up at me in shock, seemingly not expecting me to say that. Using the photos of you two when you were a few years old to sow discord between us. What did you two know when you were still children? I looked at her speechlessly. But we really had a good relationship since we were children. We were childhood sweethearts. It's completely different from what he told you, that he has never liked me. Don't you think he's lying to you? As she spoke, she looked at me with a bit of frustration, as if hating iron for not becoming steel, and said, I'm trying to help you. This time, I was really angry and laughed. Zhu Jing, can you put away those little thoughts that can be seen through at a glance? As I spoke, I pointed at a girl at the next table. That girl had been holding her phone up as if taking a selfie, but her eyes were fixed on us. Let me guess, your reputation on the internet has been very bad recently, so you plan to come to me, to expose my boyfriend's lies to me, to make me be indignant with you. Let your friend take a photo of this scene, then you can post it on the internet and push everything onto Zhou Yu, saying that we were all deceived by him, right? Zhu Jing's eyes widened in disbelief as she looked at me. How did I know? I sneered. If you had used your brain a little, you wouldn't be this stupid. Those photos of yours have no effect on me at all. Do you want to see the photos of me and my neighbor brother when I was a child? After that, I walked up to the girl at the next table. At this time, she was already so anxious that she was sweating all over. I looked at the screen. Well, it was still a live broadcast. Now the whole screen was full of comments scolding Zhu Jing for being insidious and praising me for being smart. Damn, I didn't understand at first. I didn't expect Zhu Jing to have this intention. Sorry. At first I really thought Zhu Jing was going to help Yan Yan. How can Zhu Jing still have the nerve to show up? This is the first time I've seen such a shameless person. That girl couldn't control it anymore when she saw the comments and quickly turned off the live broadcast. At this moment, a figure also rushed into the coffee shop. Zhou Yu almost burst in. When he saw me, he hugged me tightly into his arms. Don't believe her. Those photos were all taken under the inducement of her mother. I didn't understand it at that time and had no idea. He explained in a hurry, and his words were a bit unclear. He probably watched the live broadcast but didn't see the later part. I nodded, stood on tiptoe, and kissed him on the lips. Don't worry, I don't believe what she said at all. Only after being kissed did Zhou Yu feel relieved, and the look of fear on his face at first was replaced by a sweet smile. However, when he turned around and saw Zhu Jing, his face darkened again. Zhu Jing, if you still dare to sow discord between us, don't blame the Zhou family for being ruthless. As he spoke, he didn't even look at her and pulled me out, completely ignoring Zhu Jing's crying and blocking. Then, Zhou Yu asked the company to issue another statement. This time, without giving any face, he exposed all the things Zhu Jing had done, including the incident of her being taken to the police station for stealing and using his phone last time. Regarding this matter, Father Zhou also specifically apologized to me, saying that at that time he received a call from Zhu Jing's family and thought that Zhu Jing really wanted to help but accidentally made a mistake and was sent to the police station by Zhou Yu. That's why he asked Zhou Yu to reach a private settlement and release the person. 9. Finally, this seemingly serious father said somewhat awkwardly, Yan Yan, don't worry, you are the daughter-in-law recognized by our Zhou family. We won't let anyone bully you. I will never have any more dealings with the Zhu family. After that, he said worriedly, if you're wronged in the future, you have to speak up like you did this time. We'll stand up for you. Don't wrong yourself. In the end, if you're heartbroken and run away, it won't be easy for Zhou Yu to find a wife. Well, it seemed that another man had been poisoned by those Jihu articles. Presumably, this must be Zhou Yu's doing. Regarding this, my future mother-in-law, Zhou Yu's mother, was very satisfied. She said that since Zhou Yu showed those Jihu articles to his father, the old man had been paying more and more attention to her. The day of the engagement soon arrived. Since it was just an engagement, we didn't invite too many people. We just set up a few tables for our relatives and friends within the family. However, when my parents and I were on our way to the hotel, we were met with someone trying to stage A. The person who staged the was none other than Zhu Jing, who was severely scolded online some time ago. In the end, she recorded an apology video with no makeup on, but I didn't even bother to watch it. Instead, I saw many people saying that her apology was as fake as a delicate flower, and she didn't realize her mistake at all. She just kept shifting the blame to Zhou Yu, saying that Zhou Yu had made her misunderstand. In the end, she was so scolded that she directly quit the internet, but I never expected that she would appear in front of my car. When I got out of the car and saw Zhu Jing lying on the ground, her face was pale and she looked extremely haggard at this time. She looked at me as if I were her enemy, but she still suppressed her anger and said, Yan Yanwan, can you let our family go? I was a bit confused and asked, let which family go? What are you pretending for? It's all because of you. Now the Zhou family is targeting our family everywhere, and our family's business is almost unable to continue, because of you. Our family is almost bankrupt. How can you be so heartless? She cried very sadly. This time, there was no longer the previous delicate and tearful look. Instead, her face was covered with snot and tears. It attracted the attention of people around, and some even picked up their phones to film. She looked as if she had been hit by me. I asked with a cold face, are you going to get up or not? Unless you ask the Zhou family to let our family go and ask Zhou Yu to invest in our family, otherwise I won't get up, and you won't be able to get engaged today either. This time, she was no longer love-struck. She was only focused on helping her family, but I didn't know anything about the Zhou family taking action against the Zhu family. I never asked about such things. Just as I was frowning and about to call Zhou Yu, my father got out of the car. Dad, why did you get out? The old man shook his head and walked to Zhu Jing's side with a kind smile on his face, but the words he said were, little girl, the bankruptcy of your Zhu family has nothing to do with the Zhou family. Zhu Jing looked at my father in surprise. Apparently, she didn't understand who he was. My father continued to smile and said, your Zhu family moved to the north to develop back then. It was okay in the first 2 years, but later, due to your father's poor management, you had already lost all your capital. You've been struggling to hold on for all these years and finally couldn't hold on anymore, so you came back here. After coming back, in order to make a comeback, you set your sights on the Zhou family, and the Zhou family, out of the little friendship from years ago, gave you a lot of help, but you were greedy, so you targeted Zhou Yu, even though you knew he was with my daughter. You still tried to seduce him everywhere and disrupt their relationship. No, I really like you. We were childhood sweethearts since we were young. Zhu Jing screamed and shook her head, her eyes full of panic, but my father didn't stop. Instead, he continued, you'd better get out of the way right now, otherwise, if the Ma family from the northeast, whom you deceived, finds out your current whereabouts, do you think they will come looking for you? And guess if there's anyone here who will still protect your Zhu family. After all, my father was an experienced person. The sense of oppression when he spoke was something that Zhu Jing, a young girl, simply couldn't withstand. She almost scrambled to the side and quickly said, don't tell them, then you'd better not delay the time for my daughter's engagement, my father said lightly. As he spoke, he pulled me into the car. In the car, I asked my father curiously how he knew about the situation of their family. He sneered and said, my daughter has been bullied. Do you really think I would not react at all? As he spoke, he glared at me reproachfully and said, you should tell your father about such things earlier in the future. After I repeatedly promised and nodded, he told me that when the incident was making a big stir on the internet, my father didn't rush to deal with the online matter. Instead, he went to investigate the situation of the Zhu family. Only then did he find out that the Zhu family had already gone bankrupt in the north and had offended many people. The biggest one among them was the Ma family. Originally, it was agreed that Zhu Jing would marry into the Ma family in exchange for the betrothal gift. Who knew that this family took the betrothal gift and quietly ran away? Now the Ma family still has other matters to deal with. After they finish dealing with them, they will come looking for the Zhu family sooner or later. After the local families heard the news spread by my father, who would still dare to have contact with the Zhu family, the matter of the staged accident for blackmail was resolved very easily, and the engagement ceremony was also very smooth. However, even after getting engaged, Zhou Yu was still nervous every day, feeling that he wouldn't be at ease until we got married. Recently, he has read a lot of stories about chasing one's wife after making mistakes. He also takes me to the doctor for a check-up every now and then. He was afraid that I would be like the female lead in a sadistic novel and have cancer or something. I slapped this silly man on the head and said, can you think something good about me? Zhou Yu touched his head awkwardly and said, okay, you must be fine. My wife will live a long and healthy life. The next time I saw Zhu Jing was at a business cocktail party. Zhou Yu was chatting with several CEOs about business matters. I felt bored and planned to find a place to sit by myself, but I never expected to meet Zhu Jing. At this time, she was dressed up beautifully, but it was obvious that she was haggard. When she saw me, she was also obviously stunned for a moment. I could clearly see the anger in her eyes when she saw me, but this time she didn't dare to come forward and cause trouble for me. However, when she saw me sitting across from her, she got up in a panic and prepared to leave. Just as I was about to open my mouth to question her, I heard a sweet and delicate female voice on the other end of the phone. Who is this? Byron, this part seems incorrect in the original text. Maybe there's a mistake. Ignoring this for now. When she saw the man, Zhu Jing was extremely nervous. Even though she was being careful, the man still pinched her arm hard and dragged her to the side. That's someone from the Ma family, Zhou Yu said, appearing beside me at some point. Remembering what my father had said about the Ma family before, it seemed that they had really come looking for her. I didn't know how much my father had helped in this. Did Zhu Jing marry into the Ma family? He shook his head and said, the Ma family won't have her. The Ma family made preparations when they gave the betrothal gift. Now that betrothal gift has been manipulated into financial embezzlement. Zhu Jing's father has already been imprisoned. Zhu Jing is staying with Ma Dong without any status just to make a living. Anyway, life is not easy for her. After hearing this, I looked in Zhu Jing's direction again. Sure enough, I saw that Ma Dong was pushing Zhu Jing out to accompany the guests for drinks. People, one really shouldn't be greedy. For example, I'm never greedy. I don't even dislike Zhou Yu, this fool who likes to read sadistic female-oriented novels. Story 2. When I was in school, I fell head over heels for Song Qiri and pursued him relentlessly for many years. I bullied others using my influence, discarding love letters others gave him, and even knocked over a lunch box that Lin Wanbai had prepared for him. Later, when the school auditorium collapsed, I lost my legs while trying to save him, out of a sense of obligation. He married me as my parents had hoped. He spent his life entangled with me. As I became irritable and quick-tempered due to my disability, Lin Wanbai said that he was meant to shine within his own circles, instead of being trapped by me, living a life of depression and unfulfillment due to guilt. One ordinary day, I drowned myself in the bathtub. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back in my school days. My first encounter with Lin Wanbai ended with my hysterics. She didn't say much, just calmly asked me to let go of Song Chiri. Perhaps it was the words let go that triggered me. It made me drop all pretenses and become truly unreasonable. Emotions came swiftly and did not leave just as quickly. When I had managed to compose myself and returned, Song Chiri had already prepared dinner. As soon as I exited the elevator, I could smell the delicious aroma of the plum-flavored spare ribs I liked. "Where have you been? Are you hungry?" He came over to push my wheelchair, tenderly fixing the messy hair by my ear as he crouched down. I grabbed his hand, slightly annoyed. "What's wrong?" he asked gently. "Are you tired, my love?" "When did it happen?" I asked sternly. Song Chiri frowned, puzzled. "When did you meet Lin Wanbai?" "The day before yesterday, while shopping. It was just a coincidence." I furiously slapped his hand, the pain resonating in my own. I knew it. I knew the old flames were rekindled. Planning to be together forever. "You despise me now, don't you? You don't want to be with me anymore, right?" Song Chiri patiently bent down, though his eyes couldn't hide his fatigue. Don't think like that. There's nothing between her and me." I couldn't listen. My mind was a chaotic mess. Strange, noisy voices buzzed in my ears, their words indistinct. I felt extremely irritable, so I lashed out at him. "Get out. Just get out." Song Chiri's eyes reddened as he let me vent my frenzy. When I tired out, he brought my hand close to his face. "I won't leave you. I don't need your pity, just go away," I yelled, striking him hard. He turned his head from the force of my slap, his cheek quickly swelling. Yet, I forcefully pushed him away and wheeled back to my room. No matter how much Song Chiri apologized or pleaded, I refused to open the door. I was furious, yet I didn't understand why. Confusion and fear overwhelmed my mind. I screamed and cried hysterically in the bedroom, as if trying to cry myself to death on the spot. When I regained my senses, the room was a mess and it was already dark. Only the pale moonlight seeped through the window. I realized I had truly gone mad. The door opened, and there sat Song Chiri at the threshold, helplessly hugging his knees, leaning against the wall. The sound of the door startled him awake. He quickly got up, checking on my condition from all sides. Once assured I was okay, he embraced me. "I know you're feeling uneasy, but you must believe, no matter what, that I love you." The light in the hallway was harsh, making my eyes sting. I held Song Chiri in my arms, my hand buried in his hair. In the light, I noticed the slight graying at his temples. A swelling feeling overcame my heart. I realized it had been a long time since I had looked closely at Song Chiri's face, so I cradled his face in my hands and studied it carefully. His eyes were swollen and red, yet his gaze was tender and affectionate. His smile, however, was heartbreakingly sad. Lin Wanbai was right. He should have pursued everything he loved. He should have had a vast future ahead, instead of being trapped in this small place because of me. "I'm sorry." I heard my voice tremble, unable to hold back the tears any longer. I sobbed breathlessly. Song Chiri pressed his lips close to mine, silencing all my apologies. He kissed away my tears, whispering repeatedly in my ear, "You don't need to be sorry, I love you, too." I knew I could fall apart at any moment, because these crazy days often unfolded between me and Song Chiri. Taking advantage of a lucid moment, I consulted a lawyer and made a will. After taking care of these matters, I felt a great relief. It was as if a stone weighing on my heart had been lifted. Seeing my condition improve, Song Chiri's spirits lifted as well. He took me to the seaside, at the roaring shore. He loudly declared his wish to be with me forever. He took me on a cable car to watch the sunrise. As the sunlight bathed the earth, he kissed me repeatedly, declaring his love, but those sweet words pierced my heart like a knife. Then, on an ordinary day, I said I wanted to eat plum spare ribs. He originally wanted to go out with me, but I stubbornly stayed in bed, saying I didn't want to move. Before he left, he repeatedly promised to come home early. I smiled and kissed his cheek, waving at him, "Be safe." Watching from the window as he waved back and drove away, I couldn't hold back my tears any longer. I repeatedly slapped my legs. Despair, collapse. After calming down, the world was dead silent. I turned my gaze to the bathroom and then crawled into the bathtub. This simple action exhausted all my strength. Lying in the bathtub, I was spent and could only gasp for air with my mouth open. I laughed looking at the ceiling. The warm water from the shower had randomly splashed on my face. I remembered the first time I met Song Chiri. It was a cliché scene from a romantic drama, a rainy day without an umbrella. He entered my heart with an umbrella and his gentle words, and I trapped him with persistence and a life-saving debt for over a decade. It was time to return him to the sea of people, so, like a fish, I plunged into the water, swimming towards the deep sea. From then on, both he and I were free. 3. In my hand was a pink Hello Kitty lunchbox. Surrounding me were jeers and noise. The boy in front of me still looked as green as he did in my memories, his face flushed with embarrassment. Catching sight of my unharmed legs, I momentarily lost focus. Then, my legs gave way, and I awkwardly fell to the ground. Food scattered everywhere, and the jeering grew louder. "Sui, what are you doing?" Lin Wanbai pushed through the crowd, her gaze on me not too friendly. Seeing the lunchbox she gave me knocked over, her eyes reddened with anger. "Sui, what's the point? How long do you plan to keep this up?" I touched my leg and fiercely pinched it. It hurt. Tears of excitement were the first to spill over. The noisy crowd quieted down for a moment. "Don't think that crying makes you right." I quickly scrambled up from the ground, clumsily cleaning up the aftermath. Amidst the murmurs of the crowd, I picked up all the love letters from the trash can. After cleaning them, I neatly placed them on Song Chi's desk. Then, I gathered all the snacks from my locker and stuffed them into Song Chi's arms. I bowed deeply to Lin Wanbai and Song Chi, saying, "I'm sorry." After a physics class, I came to terms with the fact that I had been reborn. Perhaps out of excitement, I cried for the entire class. The old man, looking through his thick glasses, gave me a puzzled look. "Sui, why are you crying? Is it that difficult?" Looking at my test paper, covered in red crosses and scored in single digits, my voice choked. "Teacher, physics is really hard." "Then you better switch to the humanities soon." The class burst into laughter. The old man, frustrated yet caring, pointed at everyone. "Laugh, you still dare to laugh. Just look at your own scores." Just then, Song Chi finished his questions and interrupted the old man's rant. The old man glanced at his solution, smiled, and nodded. "Look, everyone, look." Then he patted Song Chi. "Song, study hard. You have hope in the competition this year." "Sui, ask Song Chi if there's something you don't understand." I glanced at the taciturn boy and quickly lowered my head. After evening self-study, I ran frantically out of the school gate. My untrained legs were a bit unsteady. Lin Wanbai quickly caught up to me, blocking me at the school gate. "Sui, don't go too far." I turned around. "What? Song Chi doesn't like you at all. Do you know how annoying you are?" "I know." I tugged at my strap, feeling a bit guilty. "I'm sorry to him." Lin Wanbai paused for a moment, her prepared argument stuck in her throat. I bit my lip, stepped forward, took her hand sincerely. "I wish you happiness." Lin Wanbai frowned. "What? I know you like him. Go for it. Work hard." Her face turned pale and then red, embarrassed by her feelings being exposed. "You? What are you talking about? It's obviously you who likes." I turned and ran into the night. Lin Wanbai chased after me, shouting, "Sui, stop talking nonsense." On Monday, I joyfully moved my books to the humanities class. Standing on the podium with my backpack, smiling, I said goodbye to my classmates of 2 years. Although it's early, I still hope everyone achieves great success. I took out a big bag of snacks from my backpack. I used to be quite annoying. I apologize here. And thank everyone for taking care of me during this time. I handed out snacks to everyone. When passing Song Chi, I specifically picked his favorite canned yellow peach. "Sorry for bothering you for so long. I hope I haven't influenced you." Song Chi glanced at me quickly, then lowered his head. "No." Although I knew he was always generous and good-tempered, I still felt so guilty I wanted to cry. In the 15 years we've been entangled, I owe him too much. It wasn't just my own legs that were trapped, but fortunately, everything was still salvageable. It was still possible to make amends, and also possible to give him back the life he deserved. 7. The person blocking me turned out to be Song Chi. At the entrance of the milk tea shop, I was relishing my roasted cold noodles. He stood silently beside me, taking the milk tea from the clerk on my behalf. "What's up?" Song Chi clumsily hung the milk tea on my fingers and pulled out a thick notebook from his backpack. "This is a compilation of frequently tested math problems." The look in his eyes was cautious, almost probing. One hand held the notebook, The other nervously gripped the strap of his backpack. The dim yellow light shone on his head. "Why are you giving this to me?" I finally managed to swallow the last of my noodles before he could speak. I stepped forward nonchalantly, looked up, and grinned. "You don't happen to like me, do you?" The boy's face turned bright red, like a cooked shrimp. He blinked frantically, shifting his gaze away, unwilling to look at me anymore. A moment later, he seemed a bit angry, his eyebrows furrowed tightly. He slapped the notebook against me, lowering his voice. "I'm just thankful for the snacks, and besides, Sui, we should prioritize our studies right now. Throughout the years we lived together, I rarely saw Songchili this flustered." It seemed like my endless mischief and madness had gradually smoothed the edges of his youth. Maybe he was going mad too, but while I could still voice my sickness and madness, he could only keep silent in those desperate years, preserving my ridiculous pride. A pang of pain struck my heart, but I laughed. "Haha, you took that seriously." His expression froze. He looked at me, puzzled for a moment. "Sui, sometimes you're quite cruel." This time, it was my turn to be silent. I had indeed cruelly clipped the wings of an eagle meant to soar, confining it to a tiny world. I was indeed very cruel. When I looked up again, Songchili had already walked away with his backpack, disappearing into the moonlight, his shadow elongated under the streetlights, growing more distant. Suddenly, I felt an urge to cry. 8. After my numerous hints, the principal noticed the risk in the auditorium. The school closed the auditorium and planned renovations during the holiday. With this major worry resolved, I could finally breathe a sigh of relief. During this period, Songchili represented the school in the provincial physics competition. Just like in my previous life, he placed in the top 3 and qualified for the national competition. I saw him when I went to the office to hand in homework. The old man, excited, patted his shoulder, impressed by the promising youth. "Give the national competition a shot, you might even get a direct admission." The old man took off his glasses, wiping away tears of excitement. Songchili remained as composed as ever, his face betraying little emotion. Seeing me pass by, the old man called out, "Sui, you should learn more from Xiaosong." I flashed a toothy smile. "Sure, teacher." Songchili looked up at me. I responded with a smile. "If we rise in fortune, let's not forget each other." He looked slightly embarrassed but nodded in the end. 9. The school seized the tail end of the term to hold an arts festival. Everyone knew that next semester they would face the tough challenge of the senior year. Thus, everyone was particularly excited about this festival. In my past life, I was completely focused on Songchili and paid no attention to such events. This time, I actively collaborated with my classmates to create a drama. From the script to rehearsals, to costumes and music, I invested myself fully. At 17 or 18. At the peak of our creative prowess, our original play caused quite a stir. Standing on stage during the curtain call, I was so moved that I nearly cried. It was then I realized how much I had missed in this chapter of life we call youth. After the show, I ran into Songchili backstage. His white shirt made him look even younger than usual. He had signed up for a singing and guitar performance. Seeing me crying uncontrollably, he appeared surprised. "I got too emotional," I said with a laugh, wiping the tears from my eyes. "What are you going to sing?" Songchili touched his guitar and replied, "On a bridge." In my past life, Songchili hadn't signed up to perform. Maybe back then, I had bothered him too much, and he couldn't spare the mental energy to participate in these activities. "You were amazing," he said with a gentle smile. "Really impressive." The host had already announced the end of the interval. I waved at him. "It's your turn to go on stage now. Good luck." The drumbeat started, and Songchili went up on stage with his guitar. I peeked from behind the curtain. The audience was full of youthful, fresh faces, and the sound of the morin-chœur filled the speakers. The spotlight shone on him, a figure meant to dazzle. "But Songchili, why does your song sound so full of regret?" At last, I chalked it up to the melodramatic emotions of youth. My thoughts suddenly shifted. I wondered if during those nights spent with me, he ever glimpsed moments of his younger days in his dreams. But waking up to the silence of a long night, all that remained was his wife, afflicted with a mental illness. It was all too despairing. Watching him, I was unable to hold back tears. Songchili, holding his guitar, looked my way. I turned my head, unable to meet his clear eyes. In my past life, an accident at the art festival had occurred. After today, history would be rewritten. I would not lose my legs, and Songchili would not be hindered by me. We would both head towards a bright future. But it seems there's always someone facing troubles in this world. As I passed by an alley, several people were standing inside, a few crimson lights flickered from a dark box, followed by malicious voices. "What are you looking at? Get lost." A man with a cigarette gestured at me. Not someone I could afford to provoke. I shrank my neck, hurriedly shifted my gaze, and quickened my pace. Voices came from the alley. "Lin Wanbai, you're seeking death." Then, a crisp slap sound. I stopped in my tracks and turned back to the alley entrance. "Damn it, you really want to die, don't you? Haven't I given you chances?" the leader said. Seeing me return, the group turned to look at me. Lin Wanbai was crouching in the corner, casting a pleading look towards me. "I called the police," I said to the leader. Someone sneered. "Everyone knows you're not allowed to bring phones to school. You think we're easy to fool, huh?" I pulled out my phone from my pocket. "Sorry, but I really did call the police. Phones weren't allowed in school, but I always sneaked mine in." A tattooed thug squeezed through the crowd, fixing his gaze on me. "What's your name?" My heart raced, but I forced myself to look up and said, "Bu Chu." An eerie silence fell over the alley. "You just wait." The man spat a puff of secondhand smoke at my face. The smoke made me cough violently. A group of people trickled away, their mopeds buzzing faintly in the night air. I stepped forward and helped Lin Wanbai to her feet. Her face was swollen, and her eyes were red. "Thank you," she said, her voice tinged with a sob. "It's okay. Where do you live? I'll take you home." She turned to look at me, her expression complex. "The one who spoke out earlier is my stepbrother." I didn't want to delve too deeply or get involved in someone else's family matters. Just then, Song Chilai approached from a distance. I raised my hand. "Song Chilai." I pulled Lin Wanbai over and walked up to him. "Little Bai is timid. You take her home." Song Chilai frowned slightly, his lips barely moving. "Time to show some chivalry." I patted his arm and took my leave. In my previous life, because of me, they missed each other even though they were perfectly matched. This time, I would do my best to make amends. 12. The start of senior year in high school. Song Chilai outdid himself, securing a first-place prize in the national competition. The school celebrated with banners and a dedicated promotional board praising him. Speech under the national flag on Monday. The principal, trembling with excitement, almost fainted as he read from his notes on stage. When Song Chilai went up to speak, the applause lasted for over 10 minutes. My hands hurt from clapping so hard, yet he put aside his prepared speech and spoke eloquently and naturally. The applause thundered once again. This time, he truly made a big splash. 13. But fate seems to love playing tricks on people. Just a month ago, Song Chilai was basking in applause and flowers on stage. A month later, when I saw him again, he was uncharacteristically downcast. Even during morning exercises, he seemed distracted, like a frostbitten eggplant. I had a hunch, so I stopped Lin Wanbai. "What's wrong with Song Chilai?" Lin Wanbai looked troubled, hesitating. This only seemed to confirm my suspicions. "There's a long road ahead. Don't let this affect your entrance exams." Lin Wanbai rolled her eyes at me sharply. "What are you even thinking about?" "So, what's been going on with Song Chilai lately?" Lin Wanbai gritted her teeth. "Song Chilai's mom is sick." She sighed deeply. "Cancer." 14. I realized I never truly understood Song Chilai. I knew he was from a single-parent family and that his mother had high expectations for him. His mother had only appeared during our wedding in my previous life. Beyond that, I knew little else. I didn't know what I felt as I followed him. He had applied for a waiver from evening self-study, just because he needed to rush to a restaurant to wait tables. After the restaurant closed, he washed dishes until the moon was high in the sky. Only then would he drag his exhausted body home, shoulders slumped, the weight of life pressing down on his shoulders, leaving him breathless. "Song Chilai is quite proud," Lin Wanbai said. She sighed again. "He seems to be thinking about not going to college. If not college, then what? Private tutoring, or maybe re-enrolling in another school to make money." I was at a loss for words. His mother's illness needed money, and all he could do was use his outstanding academic performance to earn it. "I want to help him." Lin Wanbai hesitated before finally speaking. "Sui, maybe he doesn't want your help." 15. It seemed like at this age, everyone liked to be obstinate. Lin Wanbai was no exception. Song Chiri is like that. Lin Wanbai's older stepbrother is the same. This time he came alone, riding a glowing ghost bike. The strange honking surrounded me. Oddly enough, though he was the one honking, I was the one who felt embarrassed. "Sui, I now know your name." He spoke with a cigarette dangling from his lips, his casual demeanor begging for a punch. What a coincidence. My surname is also Su Weilon. Such a pity, wasting such a nice name. date me, and I'll drive you to and from school, a cringe-worthy cliché that made me want to bang my head against a wall. I just kept my head down and walked on, feeling snubbed. He quickly got irritated. He grabbed my backpack. Sue, are you listening to me? I had no choice but to stop. I've already made myself clear, no dating. Sue Waylon was puzzled. Why? I don't like it. What about me don't you like? I can change. I don't like smokers, people with tattoos, those who don't study properly, and those who wander around on a ghost bike all day. Sue Waylon shook his hair and flashed a confident smile. Sue, I don't like your excuses. Moreover, cornering a girl in an alley and bullying her is utterly tasteless. Sue Waylon's expression changed. He threw away his cigarette and stomped on it fiercely. He pointed at me. Sue, well done. Someone stepped between me and Sue Waylon. I looked up. It was Song Chiri. He shielded me behind him. Harass her again, and I'll call the police. Sue Waylon laughed. What? Is the police station part of our school, or is it right here in our school? I pulled Song Chiri away. Don't waste words with him. Sue Waylon continued to honk his horn loudly behind us. Sue, I'm going to pursue you. How embarrassing. We walked a long way before I finally let go of his hand. You finally showed up. I looked up at him. Don't worry about your mom's situation. I'll figure something out. Song Chiri suddenly turned pale. Just focus on your studies, especially your beloved physics. You don't need to worry about anything else. I patted my chest. Leave the rest to me. Song Chiri's head was bowed. After a while, he looked up with red eyes and tear-filled. Sue, this is my own matter. I patted his shoulder. Don't be formal with me. I owe you that. I don't need it. Song Chiri managed to say. I didn't realize before how stubborn he was, and I don't like physics. With that, he walked away. Under the streetlight, his figure was upright and firm. This is a time when kids are sensitive and prideful. Lin Wanbai was right. He is a proud person, but I have no disdain for him. I simply want to help in my own way as much as I can. I sniffled again. Feeling the tears welling up, I tried to convince my parents to support Song Chili. I told them about his excellent character and promising future, how helpful he had been, and that my improvement in math was all thanks to him. I also shared about his unfortunate circumstances and his tragic family background, but parents know their children best. My ulterior motives were never hidden from their eyes. One day, my mom gently pushed open my bedroom door and asked, Honey, you like him, don't you? I nodded honestly. Mom, please help him. She stroked my head, her words left unspoken. My parents decided to sponsor Song Chili in the name of their company. They took care of his mother's ongoing medical expenses and his future tuition and living costs. I thought this would at least ease his burden, but he became even more reserved. Even when I saw him during exercise, he quickly turned his head away. Perhaps it was his pride, that's what I thought. The college entrance exam was looming, and I had no time to dwell on these thoughts. Even with a second chance at life, I was still terrified of the exams. In my past life, I was nearly driven insane. I had almost forgotten everything, not just the exam questions. After the motivational assembly, it was an endless cycle of tests every 3 days. The papers were handed out and collected before we could even thoroughly go over the mistakes. Dark circles and acne plagued my face from the stress, despite being exhausted every day. My weight kept increasing. I felt like a taut string, close to breaking. Finally, when the bell rang and the English papers and answer cards were collected, I sighed a long breath of relief. It seemed like just another ordinary day, but I had secretly lived through it twice. In the class group chat, everyone was noisily discussing the next steps. I looked at Song Chi-li's profile picture, wanting to ask how his exams went, but then I remembered he had already been recommended for admission. The graduation ceremony was held at the stadium. The principal had rented the venue and even set up a temporary stage. It took me a while to find Song Chi-li. He and Lin Wanbai were sitting towards the back, quietly watching the performance on stage. During one of the acts, someone took the opportunity to confess their feelings, eliciting cheers and screams from the crowd, a signature of youth. Lin Wanbai's cheeks were slightly flushed as she looked at the person next to her. My step faltered, and I froze in place. Everything should stop here. I should let him live his life fully, watch him shine and soar. That's the life he deserved. So I turned around and walked towards the back of the stage where there was a large empty space with few people. Finally, I had a moment to think about my own future. Sue, a familiar, cool voice stopped me. My body stiffened, and my face inexplicably heated up. The June wind was warm as it hit my skin. Song Chi-li stood at a distance. Thank you. He was standing against the light. I will pay you back the money, he said. No, you don't have to, I replied, stepping forward a bit flustered, but Song Chili took a half step back. Sui, I don't want to owe you anything, I want to do this squarely. Fireworks burst in the sky, illuminating his face. He was crying, I like you. The evening breeze was still warm, carrying the sound waves from the stage and crashing into my eardrums. His confession was like a witch's spell. I stood there, across from him, speechless as if struck. My limbs started to go numb, a premonition of being poisoned. Finally, I asked him as he continued to cry, why. Was it because I reached out to help him? So the butterfly of his youth fluttered its wings, finally stirring up a storm in his heart. But, Song Chili, this isn't liking, not even a flutter of the heart. He choked back tears, about to reveal the answer to all this. But the music of youth abruptly stopped, and the stage speakers emitted a piercing screech. I saw the neon lights swirling, the stage collapsing, the steel frame rushing towards Song Chili and me. Memories overlapped rapidly in my mind as I frantically lunged towards him, still immersed in sadness. I pulled him away, then pushed him aside. I saw the brilliant Milky Way swirling, heard the noisy cries and shouts. Excruciating pain dominated my body, as if to completely tear me apart, after a long surgery. The anesthesia plunged me into a long nightmare. In the dream, memories were jumbled, filled with shattered vases and plates, a complete mess. What remained was Song Chili's eyes, misty and slightly red, yet filled with a deathly stillness. Waking from the dream, I looked at my legs, wrapped due to injuries, and felt despair and fear again. Could it be that, given another chance, I would still be unable to change the inevitable? No, I cannot repeat the same mistakes. Before Song Chili could visit, I asked my parents to transfer me to another hospital. Perhaps my legs can still be saved. Maybe I can stand again. Heaven forbid. My legs weren't amputated. They won't bear ugly scars. I still have a chance. Overnight, I completely removed myself from Song Chili's life. Like an extra who exits the stage early after a performance, I didn't even stay for the curtain call. I blocked and deleted all his contacts, trying to use this clean and thorough method to quickly exit his life. I'm scared. Scared of history repeating itself. I didn't even dare to delve deeper, to question where his feelings for me originated. Perhaps we should sit down and have a proper talk. He leaned against the colonnade in the park, and I sat in a wheelchair by his side. We both gently watched the artificial lake ripple with the breeze. He slowly shared his journey of the heart, and I listened, visibly moved. What then? To love, to marry, and then to suffer through the long years. I no longer want such an ending. I fear I can't let go, and then fall back in, so I can only escape, stay away. The moment before I blocked him, my still nimble fingers danced on the keyboard, weaving a 5-word lie for him. I don't like you. I managed to save my legs, but just barely. They're still part of me, yet they lack the strength even to support me standing up. The doctor mentioned there's a hope I could stand again, but it's a faint hope. My mom was wiping her tears in my dad's arms, whereas I actually found myself smiling. Mom plans to send me abroad, to change the environment and also to seek treatment for my legs. On the day we were handling the arrangements, I quietly packed the things I wanted to take with me. I didn't manage to get much out before visitors came to see me. Lin Wanbai and her stepbrother Su Weilan were among them. To avoid Song Chili, I had been staying at my grandmother's house after being discharged from the hospital. I'm not sure how the two of them found this place. Grandma warmly welcomed them in and invited them to sit in the courtyard. When I appeared at the living room doorway in my wheelchair, Su Weilan stood up quickly. He rushed to my back and helped push my wheelchair. We stopped in front of Lin Wanbai, who was holding some melon slices that Grandma had cut. Her eyes were red, and she focused on my legs. Sui, your legs. I smiled and lifted the thin blanket to show my pale and skinny calves. They're still here. I pinched the loose muscles. Be happy for me. I might be able to stand again. Really? Su Weilan spoke first, and that's when I noticed him. He had a buzz cut and even removed his tattoos, looking much fresher. There was less fierceness in his eyes, though he still had a bit of a reckless air. Lin Wanbai hesitated, glancing at me and then at Su Weilan. Why are you looking at me? Su Weilan snapped. I waved him off. I want to talk to Lin Wanbai alone. Step away for a bit. What can't I hear? He was slightly upset. If it weren't for me, would she have found you? Su Weilan. Do you really need to be involved in a girl's topic? He reluctantly tried to stay, but after I crossed my arms and showed annoyance, he walked away sulkily. It was just Lin Wanbai and me in the courtyard now. She lifted her red eyes to me. Song Chi-lai, he's been looking for you." Hearing that name gave me a feeling as if ages had passed. I quickly averted my gaze and picked up a piece of sweet melon from the table. "What does he want with me, Sui? Can't you see that he likes you?" The melon that tasted so sweet yesterday now seemed utterly bland. I bit into it harshly. "What are you trying to say? Weren't you fond of him before? Why are you avoiding him now?" "I don't like him, it was just for fun back then." I quickly finished the melon and wiped my mouth as I looked at her. "Besides, I'm going abroad soon, I'll be kissing foreign cheeks." She froze, her face turning pale. She opened her mouth to speak but eventually lowered her gaze. "You applied to the same school as him, didn't you?" Lin Wanbai nodded. I feigned ease. "Perfect. Then you can pass on the message for me. Tell him not to look for me anymore. Consider any so-called favors as compensation for the times I played with him. So, all your pestering and clinging to him, that was just you playing with him." "Yeah," I said unabashedly. "I've had a privileged life since childhood, always getting whatever I wished for, whether it was the stars or the moon." He was so aloof back then, looking at me as if I were a dog. There's a song that goes, "What you can't get always causes unrest." I smacked my lips and shook my head. "Lin Wanbai, he and I are from different worlds, and I never imagined he'd be so dull as to say he likes me. It was me who idealized him." Once he came down from his pedestal, I suddenly found him utterly bland. Lin Wanbai's face turned red and then pale, as if performing a quick change act. "Then why did you save him? Who doesn't want to be a hero? Besides, we've been classmates for so many years." And he was confessing his feelings for me at that moment. It would have been too pitiful to just watch indifferently. Lin Wanbai pulled out her phone from her bag. "Did you hear that?" It felt like a rush of blood to the crown of my head, tingling uncomfortably. "Song Chi-lai, your affection is worthless to her." There was silence on the other end of the phone. Lin Wanbai hung up furiously. When she looked at me, she fought back tears but was smiling. "I will win him over and be with him, Sui. You've missed out on a really great person." She then got up and left. I sat there, feeling as if my soul had been drained. Su Weilan came over, clueless, and grabbed some fruit. "What kind of fruit is this? It's so sweet." Only the wind blew in response. "What were you guys talking about? Did Lin Wanbai say something to you?" "I'll sort her out." I forced a smile. "Su Weilan, that's your sister," he scoffed. "I never considered her my sister. If it weren't for her and her mother, my father wouldn't have been so heartless." I didn't know the specifics of his family feud and had no right to judge. "By the way, I'm going back to school," he said, grabbing another piece of fruit and smiling happily. "With this change, can I pursue you now?" "No." "Why?" "I've changed everything you didn't like." "Love doesn't work like that. There are not always clear reasons." He finished eating the fruit in frustration, his teeth gritted. "I don't believe it. I will pursue you." Life on the other side of the ocean was barely manageable. I juggled between hospital visits and schoolwork, burdened by my feeble legs. By graduation, I could barely stand up from my wheelchair, first for 3 seconds, then 10, then half a minute. I excitedly video called my parents, miraculously standing up from my wheelchair. My mom opened her mouth in shock, and my dad quickly covered it to stifle her scream. I gasped for air, standing for 1 minute and 32 seconds. It was a new record since I had been able to stand. Even though I was sweating profusely, I was overjoyed. Like the little mermaid who gained legs and stepped onto land from the depths of the ocean, I fell back into the wheelchair, laughing heartily until I ended up sobbing. My mom praised me through her tears, eventually also breaking down crying. Dad silently shed tears and immediately changed the call to a video conference, deciding to visit me with Mom overnight. "I can stand up now. Eventually, I'll be able to walk, to run, and to jump." When I was able to walk independently again, I came across news about Song Chi-lai. He had secured a position for his master's program during his undergraduate studies, and later went straight into a combined master's and PhD program due to his publication of a significant paper. He has risen high. Like many others, I have begun to look up to him. He appeared as a special guest in an interview, casually promoting physics, thanks to his good looks. He sparked a heated online debate. "So handsome, so aloof, playing with me is nothing like playing with a dog. Wishing I pass physics at the end of term, pity he studies physics. Wonder if we'd have anything in common after getting married." Amidst the flurry of discussions, his past was dug up, and so was the news of my dismal grades in physics. Someone leaked that I had once pursued him aggressively, making it sound very dramatic. Wow, handsome and smart. I'd chase him too if I were his classmate. The aloof scholar and the beautiful fool. I'm here for it, like a real-life Xian Qin and Ji Shu, the netizens discussed wildly. Even speculating about the outcome for Song Qili and me, facing what was said online, I moved far away, while Song Qili was engrossed in his research. They let their imaginations run wild with speculation. Finally, an alumnus of Song Qili stepped forward to set the record straight, stating that Lin Wanbai and he were the true match of talents and beauty. That's when I was overlooked. A small group of people still shipped Song Qili and me. Some even dug up my social media accounts and found my photos, but it didn't make much of a splash. It's the talented couples that people love to see, anything else is just a sideshow. During the grand anniversary celebration of University A, Song Qili and Lin Wanbai were invited as distinguished alumni. The event was a hot topic online, and University A kept up with the trend by live-streaming the celebration. The public's enthusiasm for gossip was undiminished, with some bold enough to ask about his personal life during the interaction segment. The host awkwardly mentioned privacy and tried to deflect the topic. Song Qili smiled gently, took the microphone, and began to tell a story. This is a story about love. A man kissed his wife on the forehead before leaving home to buy groceries. She waved at him with a smile, reminding him to be careful. On his way home, remembering his wife was in good spirits today, he bought her a bouquet of flowers. He also picked up her favorite cake from the past. Seeing the lights on at home, his heart filled with happiness. But when he reached his apartment and called out several times, his wife didn't come to the door. He thought she'd be happy to see the flowers he brought. Perhaps she was upset because he was gone too long. He entered the living room and found it empty. She wasn't there. It seemed she was annoyed by his late return. He walked familiarly to the bedroom, softly apologizing. The bedroom door was ajar and unresponsive. It seemed she was giving him the silent treatment. He pushed the door open, and the bed was empty in the darkness. He became anxious, quickly turned on the light, and scanned the room. His wife was nowhere, not even her phone was there. His heart started pounding chaotically, and he began calling out her name, but no one responded. Maybe she went out. He tried to reassure himself. Suddenly, he turned his gaze towards the bathroom, a bad feeling rising in him, almost crawling. He made his way to the bathroom door. The door was locked, and he couldn't open it. He suddenly felt a surge of fear and began to frantically bang on the door, calling out his wife's name as he did so. When the door burst open, he saw the empty wheelchair, and his wife, lying quietly in the bathtub. The bathtub was filled with water, and his wife lay there, submerged, like a sleeping princess. He lifted his wife from the bathtub, his throat releasing a mournful cry. He called her name over and over, but couldn't wake her. In tales, the prince awakens the sleeping beauty with a kiss. He tried to do the same, but he was no prince, and his kiss held no magic. Song Qili stopped abruptly, his eyes scanning the juniors and seniors seated below. Their faces were a mix of confusion and some even showed disdain. The comments on the live feed were relentless. What's this? So that's it? Is the gap between me and the top student really that big? What is he talking about? What wife? Is the top student married? Is my fantasy couple going to break up? Someone in the audience loudly asked him. Senior, who do you really like? Lin Wanbai averted her gaze silently. A sudden pain gripped Song Qili's heart. He thought he had made himself very clear, that there would be someone who resonated with his feelings, who understood what he meant. But that person seemed unwilling to respond. Just as silently as choosing to drown in the bathtub, she chose to drift away from him. In her will, Sui left all her assets to him. She wanted him to continue his physics research, to pursue his passions. Only then did he realize that throughout their decade-long marriage, Sui had thought he stayed only out of gratitude, but every confession he made came from the depths of his heart. He truly loved Sui. From the moment she stumbled into his life and eventually his heart, her unreasonable tantrums, her smugness when she sneaked glances, he noticed them all, and in the end, he personally buried Sui in a small box. He placed his lifelong love. He followed her wishes and silently dedicated himself to physics, but his passion was never truly physics. He was almost mad, driven by a certain obsession. Others thought he was engrossed in academia, but only he knew what he truly wanted to do. He tried to unravel the universe, to solve the mysteries of time. He tried to return to the past, to the beginning of their story. He told himself throughout the decades that separation was not to be feared. Even if he never succeeded, he would become the wind. The atoms in the universe do not perish. He would meet her again someday, even if, in the end, it was only as particles of dust, nestled together. In his final year, plagued by illness, he solved the equation of time. He successfully traversed the seas of time, passed through the flowers of memory, and touched the moments of her, but it was only for a moment. He tried, failed, and tried again, over and over, his growing madness fueled by undying love. He borrowed the lyrics to sing in He Chiao, let me take one more look at you, but his time was too short. Before he could say hello, he had to rush off, hoping for a next time. He kept trying, kept failing, until he stood before her, tears streaming down his face. He said, I like you. After he spoke, he regretted it. He should have been bolder and said, I love you. He had so much to tell her, how his heart fluttered for her, how willingly he loved, how her pain hurt him, his decades of love and longing. But as the world spun, he was pulled back again, until his body withered. He approached the brink of death. He held their joint photograph and peacefully awaited death, but instead, he awoke once more. He had crossed the seas of time, plucked the flowers filled with longing. He had to find her, he had to express his overflowing love, to hold her hand tightly, never to let go again.